This is the Jason Gregor Show.
Here's an opportunity for the Oilers, and they score! Guess who it is? Zach Hyman with his 18th of the season.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Play action for the 35. Lawrence fires. Agnew's open. Jamal Agnew has it. Cuts inside. He will score.
On Sports 1440.
And the Oilers Nation YouTube channel.
Mark Daigneault not using a timeout. SGA. Probing. Piercing. Spinning. Hanging for the lead. And SGA knocks it down. With just under a second to go.
A good afternoon and happy positive Friday here on the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Lots of fun to be had on Play Alberta. Make sure you use your game sense when you do so. But we got college football, NHL action, the NFL as we wind down there. Lots of options for single game parlays. You got the over-under. You got the casino. PlayAlberta.ca. Use your game sense. My name is Connor Halley, sitting in for Jason Gregor today. We've also got Brandon Douglas alongside with us as we've got an absolutely great show coming your way live from the eWell studios here at West Edmonton Mall. Of course, you can always get a hold of us at the Jiffy Lube inbox, 1-833-401-1440. Lots to get to on the program today. Of course, the Edmonton Oilers with a nice 5-0 win over the San Jose Sharks last night down in San Jose, a game that Jason Gregor, I think, summed it up very well on Twitter last night. Why couldn't they have done this last time? Would have saved him from growing out that hair, but the Oilers get a little bit of revenge and probably something we should have seen coming. We'll dig into that as well as preview the Edmonton Oilers weekend because they've got a lot going on. 2 games in Southern California. Nice for them. They won't have to travel very far when they play the LA Kings on Saturday and then the Anaheim Ducks on Sunday. We're going to preview that all and a whole lot more on the show. We've got Kevin Woodley joining us from In Goal Magazine coming up in about 15 minutes time. Also, we'll hear another edition of Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. Paul Sir will join us, longtime pro and coach, player in the basketball world, very heavily involved in 3-on-3. He'll join us at 2:45 to talk a little association. At 3 o'clock, we'll open it up again. Take your text at 3:20. We'll be jumping into the Oilers. We'll talk all about their opponents coming up in the next couple of days here. John Hoven from Mayor's Manor will join us to talk about the LA Kings. Then at 3:40, Alexis Downey, host of the pre- and post-game shows on Duckstream, will join us to talk about those Anaheim Ducks who knocked off the Vegas Knights in convincing fashion a couple evenings ago. 4 goals in the first period. Hopefully they got all their goals out of the way. So when the Oilers play, then it'll be a nice, easy one. We shall see what happens. At 4 o'clock, we'll be joined by Wanye Gretz of Oilers Nation, our co-host on Fridays from 4 till 6. We'll hear from Craig Button from the NHL on TSN. Of course, he covers the World Juniors as well. Not going Canada's way right now as they, I believe, are still trailing host Sweden 2-0. We'll recap that game with Mr. Craig Button. At 4:40, we'll have 5 questions. And then at 5 o'clock, it's Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Jason Gregor of 520 from Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff. Again, text 1-833-401-1440. Perplexed Oilers fan says Canada looks so terrible against Sweden. I can see it. We kind of talked about that yesterday on the show. You know, the wins were nice. Beating up on Latvia is cool. The first game against Finland, you'll take it. But, I mean, this is the major test, the third game, the home country hosting. So probably a little bit tougher for Canada. We'll see, how they're able to bounce back going forward. Who knows? I don't know, Brandon. Do we have a official time clock on that one? Do we know how much is left in that game? Canada, Sweden?
Vince Carter meme.
It's over?
It's over.
So they lost 2-0.
2-rip. Final score from Gothenburg.
That sounds about right. I was going to say, you're only 2 shots away, but in this case, no. They've lost. It is over. Canada drops to 2-1 so far at the World Juniors. It'd be totally different if Connor Bedard was there. He wouldn't let this happen. He'd be scoring goals. Unfortunately, he's just lighting it up with the Chicago Blackhawks. But hey, I did tweet it out last night. Evan Bouchard, 2 more points than Connor Bedard right now. It doesn't mean anything. Bouchard's, a much older player, more developed. Bedard is 18 and lighting it up as a rookie. But The stats do not lie. Evan Bouchard right now 2 points up on Bedard, a couple points up on a few of his teammates as well. Dr. Gonzo on YouTube. Hello, happy positive Friday. KQ on YouTube as well says the refs suck. You know what? Sure. I don't know what we're blaming the refs for. Maybe the game Canada taking on Sweden, that could be part of it, but elaborate. Let us know what is going on and why you think the refs suck. Let's jump into last night's action. The Edmonton Oilers and the San Jose Sharks. It was an 8:30 start, which for a lot of people isn't ideal, but I do think a lot of people on holidays, on vacation, maybe got a chance to stay up late and watch that one. And for the Edmonton Oilers, exactly what they had to do. I said it this morning with Kevin Carius. I don't think we need to heap the praise on the Edmonton Oilers for what they did in San Jose. San Jose is a struggling team. Obviously, losers of now, I believe, 8 straight when it comes down to it. They have a hard time putting the puck in the back of the net. They have a hard time keeping the puck out of their net. And that was even more so shown when they throw in a guy who played, half a game of NHL experience and Mr. Magnus Krona. He also, played in the East Coast League this year, the AHL. So the San Jose Sharks are basically running on fumes, probably hoping for that lottery pick and getting that number 1 overall selection in hopes that it could change their future down the road. But they're just not a very good hockey team. And yes, they beat the Oilers earlier on in the season, but the Oilers are in a different place. And, you're starting to get some depth scoring from this Oilers team. How nice was it to see Ryan McLeod get that early goal? He's got, 3 goals in the opening minute of games this season. And, you can just see the confidence in him starting to grow when he gets that puck crossing the blue line and, almost no hesitation. I think 2 weeks ago, he would have taken that puck around the net, would have been kind of just a wasted opportunity, but he picks his spot. He takes the shot, scores, gives the Oilers that early 1-0 lead. And they don't stop there. The 2-on-1 goal, I thought it was a nice play from Darnell Nurse at his own blue line to break up the rush. Oilers go the other way. Connor McDavid with a fantastic finish to Zach Hyman, who drove the net, established body position, and kind of got that tap in. Leon Draisaitl's goal was nice. Really liked what I saw from Warren Fogle on that play. You saw Evan Bouchard letting one rip, and then the 5th goal, yeah, kind of an ugly one, but that's okay. They don't ask how, they ask how many, and the Oilers got the 5-0 win, and that's what they should have done against the San Jose Sharks. Now they turn their attention to the Los Angeles Kings tomorrow night. That's going to be one heck of a game. And I want to ask you this, because we'll talk about it throughout this show. Are the LA Kings rivals? I mean, there was some bad blood going in the last 2 playoff series. I think 2 years ago, we thought the Oilers would run away with that series. They did. Last year, I thought the Kings might put up a good fight, which I think they did. But do you dislike the LA Kings? I see it with the Vegas Knights because the Vegas Golden Knights knocked out the Oilers last year in the playoffs. But I haven't really seen that with the LA Kings. So when we have John Hoven on, I'm going to ask him and just say, do the Kings fan base look at the Edmonton Oilers as a rival? I'm curious. I don't know if it's there. Maybe it's because the Oilers did win the last 2 series. You talk to Dallas Stars fans going back to the 90s, and they said it wasn't that big of a rivalry for their side. I grew up hating the Dallas Stars. Darian Hatcher, Zubov, Modano, anyone like that. Belfour did not like them because for the most part, they got the win. So let us know, 1-833-401-1440, the Jiffy Lube inbox. Are the LA Kings a rival? And will we see any bad blood tomorrow night? I hope so. It'd make entertaining hockey. Brandon Douglas alongside with me. Brandon, you look at this LA Kings team. You're a Ducks fan. So you don't really have a horse in the race here, but do you think the Oilers and Kings meeting 2 straight years in the playoffs, is there any rivalry growing?
I think it naturally breeds a rivalry, especially this was the whole purpose of the NHL's new version of scheduling, right? Is to the playoff format. You play division rivals in the first round of the playoffs. And I think it has succeeded, at least in this specific matchup. Look at, the Vegas has kind of become a rival, even just from basically the course of one play, the Pietrangelo slash on Leon, I think. 2 playoff series, and it was physical. It was fast. Yes, the Oilers got the better of them. So I think you might be onto something there with the Dallas Stars comparison from the previous generation of Oilers, is that the Oilers have been on the plus side of this. They've kind of had their way with the Kings a little bit. And yes, it's been close and been hard contested, but the Kings probably look at Oilers fans as more of rivals, and maybe vice versa. I think you hit that really well.
Yeah, and I don't know too many Dallas Stars fans, but I can tell you, I've seen on social media, they look back at those Oilers Stars series from the 90s, early 2000s, and it's kind of like Yeah, we met a lot, but there wasn't really a big rivalry. Oilers fans, I know, didn't look at it that way. I know Oilers fans to this day have a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth when it comes to those Dallas Stars hockey clubs that, for the most part, ran the show. But we always had Marchand and the Cujo save. We have those good memories that we can hang on to as Edmonton Oilers fans. We got the NFL last night. If you missed it, we might have had low expectations for this one just because the history, some of the injuries that are going on with these two teams and their star quarterbacks. But the Cleveland Browns clinch a playoff spot. They do so, I'll say, on the back of their defense and their franchise quarterback, Joe Flacco. It's too bad they gave all that guaranteed money to Deshaun Watson because Joe Flacco was right there for picking up. He threw 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. Did anyone start Joe Flacco in fantasy? Because if you did, bravo. Very good move. He was fantastic, over 300 passing yards in the victory for the New York Jets. I don't know. It might be kind of similar to how I am with the Chargers, where maybe they just want to lose some games, although they did keep that first-round pick because Aaron Rodgers didn't play the certain amount of snaps that it would have been. But for the Cleveland Browns, that's a very interesting story going into the playoffs. What can they do? Likely be a road game for them. We shall see what happens to Baltimore Ravens and the remainder of their season. And then Trevor Lawrence, he's going to miss this weekend's game with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's been ruled out. CJ Beathard will get the start. I'll have to ask Gregor about that one because I believe his quarterbacks for fantasy were Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence. That's going to raise some questions for what he might do. Maybe Easton Stick out there. Maybe that could be someone he goes after. But yeah, the playoff picture in the AFC and the NFC as a whole is going to be very interesting to follow because you've got the Jags, the Texans, and the Colts all right there in the AFC South, Brandon.
I believe Jason Gregor picked up Jarrett Stidham. As this morning, Kevin Karras, who plays in the same league and went 0-18 this season. Pretty
impressive.
It is very impressive. He was running over Gregor's roster this morning because Gregor and his opponent in the finals of their league apparently are the two guys that have never won.
Okay.
So Jason looking for his first championship. So Kevin's very invested in breaking down his roster, and because he doesn't want Gregor to have this one up on him. Kevin has won before, but if Gregor gets the W and combined with Karras' 0-18, quite a bit of a smack talking could occur. But if Gregor loses, then you lose, whether you go 0-18 or lose in the final. A loser's a loser all the same, depending on your payout structure, I guess. But that being said, I believe he did mention that Jarrett Stidham is who Gregor might have picked up heading into this final weekend.
I mean, you got Cortland Sutton, or is he going to play?
I don't know.
Jerry Jeudy. I would have gone with Easton Stick, but it is that Chargers defense.
I'm going with Jaron Hall.
Are you?
I think I'm going to start him in my second QB spot. Playing
with the Vikings. You got Jefferson. You got Addison. That could be a good spot.
You've got a lot of weapons around you. So, but back to your original point. I've loved this NFL season because there haven't been runaways. Like these last few weeks of the season actually matter more than just maybe who gets the 1 seed or who finishes atop a specific division. Every single spot basically is still up for grabs. There's a couple clinch divisions, of course, but outside of that, it's everybody's still playing for something, and a couple teams are still losing for something as they try to slide down the rankings to get a higher pick to try and secure. We talked about it a lot yesterday. A lot of teams probably looking for a franchise quarterback coming out of this upcoming spring's draft.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be really cool to see what happens, and we love the NFL because the last couple of weeks you get those divisional matchups that can be so crucial for teams trying to get into the playoffs or, win their division. It can always matter. So going to be a fun weekend in the NFL. A couple texts to get to before we throw it to break here. Graham says, I still hate Dallas and Colorado from the 90s. For some reason, I'm pretty indifferent to Carolina. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, growing up an Oilers fan, the Dallas, Colorado teams we certainly hated. The Carolina, I kind of just forgot about Game 7. I've said that before. I don't remember Game 7, the final, or anything. So it is hard for me to say exactly, do I hate Carolina? No, I don't think I do. Dallas and Colorado, absolutely, Graham. I'm with you. And Coach Mike says, would you keep McLeod on the wing for the time being? Heck yeah, I would. Simplify the game a little bit for him. Let him use his natural attributes, his speed, that shot. I mean, this guy was a second-round pick. He's got the ability, to be a good player in the NHL. And if you can take a little bit of responsibility off him, do it. And just let him play, especially, 4 goals in his last 3 games. There's no way he's going to keep up that pace. It'd be awesome if he did. He just had an explosion and just burst onto the scene and became a new star. We're not going to count on that. But if he can chip in a couple of goals, here and there, it's going to go a long way. And the Oilers need that. They need depth scoring. We know they can get the top end scoring, but it's just, goes a long way for them going forward. Also, defending. Defending is also pretty key. So they got to keep that going as well. We got a great show coming up for you today. Kevin Woodley of In Goal Magazine will join us next. We've also got Cam Tate in the 2-minute warning. Paul Sir, former pro basketball player and coach. John Hoven from Mayor's Manor will join us to preview Oilers and Kings. We'll stay in Southern California for the Ducks, and pre- and post-game host Alexis Downey. She'll join us at 3:40. Wanye Gretz will be at 4 o'clock. Craig Button at 4:20. Speck at 5, and Jason Gregor at 5:20. A whole lot of stuff to get to. So we will take a break. It is the Jason Gregor Show coming to you live from the eWell studio, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair.
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sportsbook, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Done. Buddy, want to come over and watch the game? I'll make a big salad.
I don't know, man.
Steve, come over and watch the game. I've got a massive salad here.
Yeah, my wife needs me to go shopping with her.
Mike, want to watch the game and eat salad with me?
Who is this?
Did I mention I've got a bunch of Will Hawk beef jerky too?
I'll be right over. I'm heading over now. I'm already at your front door.
Will Hawk beef jerky, because you don't win friends with salad.
Will Hawk is the home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
In Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall.
It's time to get excited about driving again. Volvo Cars Edmonton makes it easy, and they'll make your first 2 bi-weekly lease payments on any Volvo model. Step into the intelligent design of the Volvo XC60 plug-in hybrid, and you'll save an additional $3,500. Volvo certified pre-owned vehicles start as low as 1.24%. Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
No, if I lift this up and then hit it right here.
No, it's hit then lift.
What are you guys doing?
We can't get this thing to work.
For guaranteed same-day service, call Franco Sorgiovanni at Corporate Business Solutions before someone makes it even worse. Most issues can be resolved within 20 minutes or less. Corporate Business Solutions is an authorized Konica Minolta office equipment dealer for sales and service. Call CBS today at 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Vincent Pearson at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
You adore your Audi, value your Volkswagen, baby your Beamer. But when it's time to take her in for repairs, some of that love fades. That's because it can take several days and tons of cash for the dealership to do their magic. Let Cochran's Automotive rekindle the flame. They'll professionally repair your import, usually in one day. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Honda, and Toyota. Cochran's Automotive will return her to mint condition. Open at 7 a.m. Let Cochran's Automotive replace your timing belt before it's too late. Cochran's Automotive, 780-452-5001.
Get ready to make a game day decision with McDonald's Fan Day deals. Grab a $4 Big Mac, McChicken, or filet-fish sandwich exclusively through the McDonald's app. Wow, what a deal. Plus, tax valid on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays for a limited time at participating restaurants in Alberta and Northwest Territories.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Are you one of the many living on borrowed time with your old furnace, praying that you can make it through another winter? You've been blessed so far, but stop gambling with your family's comfort and safety and get a new Daikin furnace with the best warranty in the business. Right now, we're offering free furnace upgrades, which means getting a better model of furnace that provides you greater comfort at a lower price. With multiple financing options also available, there's never a better time to get a new Daikin furnace from Weiss Johnson. Visit wjheats.com today.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Well, welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas with you, sitting in for Jason Gregor, who will return in the new year. He'll actually join us at 5:20 as well. The coaching commitment got in the way today. We'll see how the squad did today. Yesterday, he talked about it. Close game. They lost their first one, but then a big blowout in game two. So we'll get a little feel on what's going on with the young squad for Jason Gregor and his team. Still to come, we'll also be joined by John Hoven, Alexis Downey, Wanye Gretz, Craig Button, Speck, Paul Sir, Cam Tate. A whole lot going on this positive Friday here on the Jason Gregor Show. Of course, you can always reach us at the Jiffy Lube inbox, 1-833-401-1440. And remember, if you do want to book that oil change, you can do so at jiffylubeservice.ca. Right now, we'll get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Ice. They've expanded and now own the JPHL, an academy-style approach for U14, U15, and U18 players with a focus on skill development and education. Learn more at juniorprospecthockeyleague.com. We bring in Kevin Woodley of NHL.com and In Goal Magazine. Kevin, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's good to join you on a Friday. Sort of, normally we're just starting the week, the grind when I'm with you guys on Monday. So Friday, it's relaxed. I'm a little more chilled today.
Absolutely. We're wrapping it all up, and we do appreciate you coming on. Of course, no show on Monday, and then we don't have a show next Monday as well. So we'll have to accommodate and try to get you on again. But Kevin, I want to start off with the Oilers AHL options. And, when you look at this organization as a whole and the goaltending, Stuart Skinner has shown maybe in glimpses, not as consistent as we would have liked, that he can be the guy. We've started to see Cal Pickard get some chances and look good when he's been called upon. But down in the AHL, there is kind of an intriguing debate going on with how do you handle Jack Campbell and that contract, as well as the youngster in Olivier Rodrigue. What can you tell us about the battle going on down with the Condors?
Well, first off, full disclosure, nothing on personal observations, right? Just you get busy. There's so much time focused on the NHL for me that it's really hard to sort of find the time to dig into the video, and I don't have it as readily available, or the advanced stats, because Clearsight Analytics works exclusively in the National Hockey League. So I haven't been able to sort of do this isn't personal research, but I was able to reach out, because we've had this question for the past couple of weeks, from listeners. I was able to reach out to some other American Hockey League goalie coaches that have been through Bakersfield or had Bakersfield in town over the past month or so, and just ask them, hey, what have you seen from both guys? And, it's interesting. There is a sentiment from those that have watched Campbell, including some that have watched him in practice, that it's just not necessarily getting better down there. And so the assumption that he'd be an option back up in the NHL at this point, again, according to some of the other goalie coaches, and the top of my head, the guys that I talked to, at least a couple of them played in the league. They know what it looks like. They know what NHL goaltending looks like, and he's not giving it to them right now. There's a real, in the words of one, it looks like he's just struggling to find his foundation, and the inconsistency, getting beat on clean shots, clean looks, just the kind of thing you can't have at the National Hockey League level. Now, I've said, that he's a goalie that has, a strong read element to his game. And that's part of the challenge of being in the American Hockey League when you're a guy that sort of relies on that. It is a bit more of a scrambly league. It's a league of mistakes. Young players make more mistakes. And so it's a little tougher to read off that behind it as a goaltender. But when you're getting beat off straight releases in straight lines and beat clean, that's not a good sign. And so, pretty much every guy I talked to down there that had watched him didn't think he's going to, don't think that, at least right now, he's an option to come back up to the National Hockey League. And of course, that leads to questions about Olivier Rodrigue, who has outplayed Jack Campbell down there. And could he be an option? And the consensus I've got from a couple of guys is he's the option they would choose first, not necessarily ahead of Calvin Pickard. But if you needed one of the two, they'd give him a look ahead of Campbell, with a couple of caveats. One, really good in straight lines, less so once you go east-west. Now, the Oilers have done such a better job since the coaching change of eliminating the east-west plays, especially off the rush that plagued them early in the season. But once you get into those, there's a tendency for him to be behind laterally or get spread out, opened up, and end up on his stomach on those lateral plays. And that's something that if that's happening to you at the American League level, maybe reads will allow you to beat those plays better at the NHL if it's cleaner and easier to make those reads. But it's a tendency that will probably get exploited even more up here. So that's sort of the caveat I got from the guys that have watched him a lot closer than me. And, I think the one that, has to be a little, I don't know, frustrating or what word you'd use to describe it. But the fact that none of them really saw Jack as an option to come up is probably a little disheartening. I think it's disheartening if you're a fan of good people like Jack Campbell is. You hoped he'd get things together to the point where he became an option for them, and it certainly doesn't sound like that's happening.
Yeah, for sure. Disappointing. I know the fan base here, for the most part, rooting for him. When he had the shutout down there, people were very thrilled about that, and then just to see how it's kind of gone since then, not necessarily ideal. Now, Kevin, Stuart Skinner last night shut out against the San Jose Sharks, so I think people might hold that against him. I'm okay with it. You get a shutout in the NHL, you did a pretty good game. He also had the victory against the New York Rangers, a couple late goals, but I didn't hurt them in the end. When you look at Stuart Skinner and what he's been able to do, I guess relative to the environment, what have your thoughts been about his play?
Well, it's interesting because if you go back to the start of the coaching change, and I remember being on a couple of weeks ago and running the numbers, and he was still underwater, like he was still below expected. But this last little while, statistically, he's starting to profile more like the guy we saw down the stretch last year. I don't care if it's the Sharks. They still generated 6 high danger chances and, close to 2.5 expected goals, and he didn't give up any, right? So his numbers over the past month, I think after the coaching change, there was that East Coast trip where some of the habits were still there, right? Still the bad turnovers in the offensive zone leading to the odd man rushes the other way. A lot of open looks in east-west plays. And hey, listen, if you're going to give that up in today's NHL, most goalies are going to give up goals. But I think in Skinner's case, like you're even more so playing away from his strengths if you're going to get into rush games, right? Like he's an in-zone goaltender. That's where he's at his best. And that's not a criticism. Like everybody has strengths and weaknesses. Those are his strengths. Since they started playing more to his strengths in this past month, the numbers are really good. He's almost a full, more than 2.1% above expected. Like that puts you, in the territory of a Jacob Markstrom, of an Andre Vasilevsky, of a Connor Hellebuyck over the past month of the season, Linus Ullmark. Like that's up there with the best. And that's kind of, in the territory that we saw down the stretch last season. Because, remember, I was sort of giving these caveats last year too. The Oilers were so good defensively that some of his raw numbers, all-star game and things like that, like they weren't purely a product of the team system, because as a rookie to do what he was doing is impressive, even just to hold water, but he wasn't outplaying the environment for most of the year. And then sort of after the trade deadline, he really did start outplaying the environment, and he's kind of back to that guy. So that's a positive if you're the Oilers. Like he looks more like a guy you could ride into the playoffs. Still think you need a better second option, frankly. The underlying profile on Calvin Pickard isn't, it's kind of trended the other way. And he's been asked to do, tough job to start every once in a while. Still think you need to find a way to get a guy that's going to allow you to rest Skinner and give you a plan B come the playoffs. But Skinner looks again like a guy who could be a really good option as a plan A.
We're joined by Kevin Woodley here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in with Brandon Douglas. You can get Kevin's work at InGoal Magazine and NHL.com. Now, the Oilers' opponent this weekend, or one of the opponents, Kevin, would be the Los Angeles Kings. Cam Talbot, Phoenix Copley, handling the majority of the starts there for the Kings. What are your thoughts on their play so far this season?
Well, Copley's up for the season, so they're going to be looking for some options here. So I'd be curious to see. I want to see more of David Rittich, and I think, Rittich is a guy who has high upside. But in key moments over his career, he's not, when games are close, on the line, up by a goal, or tied, late in periods, things like that, like you can actually look at his performance in those moments and the numbers crater. So I think if you're the Kings, I'm not sure how you feel about him as a plan B. I think the question mark for them is if they are going to add a goaltender, and I think they have to because they've got cup aspirations and you need more depth. And, we talk about the Oilers really maybe only having one guaranteed guy. I think you need more than two. the question for me in LA is, do they look to upgrade on the number one? And I say that, I think last I checked, pre-Christmas vacation, wasn't Cam Talbot was running at 9:30. The fact they're even asking that question tells you how much of that is environment. Or do they just settle with find a more secure or more stable or just another option in the 1B? So I can't answer which way they'll go, but they're definitely looking. In the meantime, Talbot's, whatever the raw numbers are, like I said, last I checked, it was a 9:30. It's probably come down with the last couple of games.
Yeah, 9.24 right now.
Yeah, but so much of that, that's good, right? Probably top 10 in the league. This is the warning I gave on Jack Campbell before the Oilers signed him. His numbers grade out in the 30s. He hasn't been bad. He's been better than expected, but at about little less than 1%. In that sort of 30 range in the league. It reminds me a lot of Jack, totally different goaltender. A lot more technique and structure and a really good fit behind LA. We're just getting to your spots on a lot of nights is all you need to do behind such a great defense. But the numbers that you see, top 10 in the league and in the raw numbers are more reflective of the team system. And you can fool yourself into thinking it's all goaltending when a guy's playing as well as he is. But this is where the numbers really matter. This is why you don't give Jack Campbell 5x5, because so much of it was the environment in front of him. And I think if you're the Kings, you're asking that same question right now. Hey, if we get into the playoffs, can we continue to give Cam Talbot what has been basically the best defensive environment, the highest expected save percentage of any starter in the National Hockey League? Or are we going to, if teams find a way to, like the Oilers did in the playoffs last year on the power play, if they find a way to open up and create space, do we need another level of goaltending to sort of be able to handle that? So I'm curious to see which way they go with that question. In the meantime, he's been fine. He's been good. It's just the raw numbers can make you think he's been great, and you just don't need that in LA.
Kevin, thanks so much for doing this today. Really appreciate it. We appreciate you all you've done for us this last year, sticking with us with a jump over to 1440. Have a happy new year, and we'll talk to you, I hope, next week. I think we should be okay if you can make some time for us.
Absolutely. Love to, Connor. I'm at the Winter Classic on the 1st anyway, so being a day off for you guys works for me. We'll connect later in the week. Have a great new year, and thanks for everything over 2023.
Absolutely. There you go. That is Kevin Woodley of In Goal Magazine and NHL.com. Appreciate him coming in here, talking a little bit about the Oilers goaltending situation down in Bakersfield. He is our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches, safely taking your team or group to their next destination. Visit silentrides.ca for more info. A couple texts coming in here into the Jiffy Lube inbox, 1-833-401-1440. Jeff says, and this is in regards to the Oilers and potentially keeping McLeod on the wing, Oilers will still need a third center unless you put Holloway in McLeod's spot. Yeah, I mean, Coach Mike brought that up for the short term. Certainly, I think, the way McLeod's playing, not a bad idea to keep him on the wing. Yeah, you will need a third line center. I'm sure, again, at some point, we'll see Nuge potentially drawing down the middle, and they'll move things around. Maybe they'll look to acquire a third line center. And Googie or Gucci, one day I'm going to get your name, my friend. Carolina isn't a rival because a team that runs and injured your starting goalie to win a cup ain't even worth a mention. Man, that one takes me back. I do remember that. I have forgotten about Game 7, but I do remember the Dwayne Rollison injury, and UC gave it all he could. Ty Conklin gave it all he could. Just wasn't enough. Anyways, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk to Cam Talbot for the Cam Tate for the 2-minute warning. I got the Talbot on my mind, and we'll also be joined by Paul Sir, former pro and coach, longtime basketball player in the city, Europe, all over the place. We'll get a look around the NBA as well. You're listening to the Jason Gregor Show live on Sports 1440 and the Oilers Nation YouTube channel.
Hey world, get ready to believe. At Oodle Noodle, we serve up world-class, worldwide flavors in our sweet, saucy, and fiery noodles. We believe in the power of nudes. We've got everything from saucy mac and cheese to sizzling pad thai to so many other unbelievable dishes sure to make you a noodle convert for life. You've got to taste them to believe it. Don't be a skeptic. The proof is in the noodles. Check us out at oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle. We believe in noodles.
Imagine dashing through the snow behind the wheel of a 2023 Sierra half-ton at 0% financing for 60 months. It's GMC's Joy to the Ride event, and we have over 70 in-stock Sierras to choose from, but only until the end of December. Need more joy? How about no payments for 90 days on every new 2023 GMC and Buick we have in stock when you finance your new in-stock 2023 GMC Buick. Plus, get up to $4,000 in Christmas cash. It's the most wonderful time of year, only at Wolf GMC Buick.
With sport and group events returning, are you looking for safe and professional travel options? Look no further than Silent Rides, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer state-of-the-art motor coaches, first-class service, and affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880
I love it fast, Eddie here. Reading.
Or visit silentrides.ca.
What's his name camptates words? Today's topic, strength in numbers, when the calendar joyously flips over to 2024 Monday. We enter an Olympic year this time in Paris as the world's best athletes show their stuff. The Paralympics will be in Paris too, and that in itself was a huge wheel rotation when, in 1992, the Paralympics, for the first time, were held in Albertville, France, the same country as the Olympics. Let's see, add the one 31 years ago. I say it's time to push the inclusion envelope even further. Sure, the Olympics and Paralympics are in the same country, but, and it's a big but, almost 3 weeks later, the Olympics end August 11th. The Paralympics start the 28th. Very fine. But why? Why can't we have Olympic swimming events the same time as Paralympic swimming? Why can't we have track and field events, Olympians and Paralympians at the same time? Why can't we? Okay, you get what I am laying down, I think. Where I come from, an athlete is an athlete is an athlete. Why can't Special Olympians? I really struggle with that name, but that's another 2-minute warning. Compete in the same country as Olympians and Paralympics. We live in a world of inclusiveness and equal opportunity, Oregon. So we tell ourselves. So let's put this thing further so the world can see all in one place, all together, the athletic prowess of all athletes. And close your eyes, if you will, and imagine the medal ceremony with Olympians, Paralympians, and athletes with intellectual disabilities. And what if the medal count for every country was added together instead of 3 different categories? Because a medal is a medal, isn't it? The 2-minute warning with Cam Tate, Mondays, Fridays. Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440.
The last thing you want up in the air is your travel insurance. The James Insurance Group is here for home and auto, travel insurance, and much more. Working for Albertans across the province, the James Insurance Group will find you the best value and coverage you need. Find us at tjig.ca. That's tjig.ca.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
2:41, it is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley and Brandon Douglas sitting in. Today, Gregor off. He will join us at 5:20, but he will return to the show when we all come back on Tuesday, January 2nd. We will be off on Monday. There'll be Fox Sports Radio all day long. The text line 1-833-401-1440 if you'd like to get in on the action here and join us. We're coming to you live from the UL studio where the worlds of electricity and sports collide. Stay plugged in as we power up your day and the latest sports updates, ewel.ca. Oh man, we got back into 2006, and I kind of agree with Graham here. That injury was on Bergeron, not Carolina. And if Markkanen came in, he was unbelievable. If it was Markkanen who was dressed as the backup goalie in game 1, it's a different story. It'll be game 2, right? Didn't the Oilers win game 1? Is that the Chris Pronger penalty shot? Or did Conklin blow it? We have to go back and take a look at it. Maybe I don't remember it as much as I say I do. I was fresh 18 at that point. We were having a lot of fun that playoff run. It was a good time. And yeah, UC Marketing was good. It gave the Oilers an opportunity. I'll never forget watching the penalty that Steve Stales took and almost gave the Hurricanes a chance to win it all, or gave them a chance to win it all. And then Fernando Pisani scoring that goal. And what a memory. Game 7 never happened. Still to come on this show, we will talk a little bit about those Oilers as they're down in Southern California. We'll preview the game against the Kings tomorrow and then the Ducks on Sunday. But first, we're going to hear another edition of Cam Tate's 2-Minute Warning. Cam, of course, joins us every Monday and Friday at 2:40. Love these segments. Brandon, let's get into it.
Thanks there. Const the con man. I love it fast, Eddie here. Reading. What's his name, Cam Tate's words? Today's topic, strength in numbers when the calendar joyously flips over to 2024 Monday. We enter an Olympic year this time in Paris as the world's best athletes show their stuff. The Paralympics will be in Paris too, and that in itself was a huge wheel rotation when, in 1992, the Paralympics, for the first time, were held in Albertville, France, the same country as the Olympics. Let's see, add the one 31 years ago. I say it's time to push the inclusion envelope even further. Sure, the Olympics and Paralympics are in the same country, and it's a big but. Almost 3 weeks later, the Olympics end August 11th. The Paralympics start the 28th. Very fine. But why? Why can't we have Olympic swimming events the same time as Paralympic swimming? Why can't we have track and field events, Olympians and Paralympians at the same time? Why can't we? Okay, you get what I am laying down, I think. Where I come from, an athlete is an athlete is an athlete. Why can't Special Olympians? I really struggle with that name, but that's another 2-minute warning. Compete in the same country as Olympians and Paralympics. We live in a world of inclusiveness and equal opportunity, Oregon. So we tell ourselves. So let's put this thing further so the world can see all in one place, all together, the athletic prowess of all athletes. And close your eyes, if you will, and imagine the medal ceremony with Olympians, Paralympians, and athletes with intellectual disabilities. And what if the medal count for every country was added together instead of 3 different categories? Because a medal is a medal, isn't it? The 2-Minute Warning with Cam Tate, Mondays, Fridays. Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440.
There you go. That is Cam Tate's 2-Minute Warning. I agree. Why not? I mean, you could just make the games a couple days longer, a week longer, have those events included. I'm here for it. We'll see if it ever happens. I don't know, what the difficulties would be. Is there more issues to it? Housing all the athletes in the Olympic Village. But I think that's a great idea from Cam. So we'll see what happens with that one. But that is the Cam Tate 2-Minute Warning every Monday and Friday here on the Jason Gregor Show at 2:40. All right, now, why don't we bring in Paul Sir, Brandon? I think we got him ready to go in the studio here. It is the NBA Report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace of a warm winter. Go to legacyheating.ca. Paul, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Happy holidays to you, Connor.
You as well. Good to see you, Paul. Lots to get to in the NBA. I just want to start off with the Toronto Raptors because I can admit it. I am a fan of the team, and I've long thought this, and even prior to Kawhi Leonard, that this team is just kind of hovering in mediocrity. And until you get that top pick and you really get that stud, it can be tough to turn the franchise around. But the Toronto Raptors, it seems like they are what they are, and I don't know if they have a long playoff run ahead of them in their future in the next few years, unless it's like burn it all down, stink, and then just try to rebuild with top end talent.
It's a tough. It's almost by design that they're this type of team right now. I really believe, Connor. They're building their future around Scotty. Understandably, he's a great player. He's becoming even more of a great player this year. He's demonstrating not just the ability to score, rebound, block shots, pass the ball, but he's an energy guy too. So I think he's been, I don't want to say a pleasant surprise, but I think everybody's excited about his development this year. It's just that the other pieces don't work well together. And I think that Masai Ujiri's style and the way he's gone about it just seems to equal this kind of outcome. I really don't know how else to describe it because the pieces are odd. A lot of the same type of player. The other day on his podcast, JJ Redick was talking about how to be successful in the NBA today is you need at least 4 shooters. The Raptors struggle to have 1. So they went about it with this long positionless type of athlete, but they really haven't paid attention to shooters and to spreading the floor. And then the player that they drafted in Grady Dick has been a disappointment. But I would, to be honest, I challenge both the management and the coaching staff. I think they've done a terrible job of just letting this kid get out there and earn his NBA chops to see if he can play. But you'll never know if he's going to play if he goes back and forth from the G League and he gets 2 or 3 minutes in a game. So I just think right now the Raptors, by they're kind of choking on their own, or they're hanging by their own noose that they've created for themselves.
When you look at Scotty Barnes, and I mean, averaging 20 points a night, shooting just under 50%, it looks like 9.4 rebounds per game, 5.9 assists. Do you think he can be like that upper echelon superstar player in the NBA?
Maybe. I don't know yet. Like I really he's becoming better and better, more and more versatile all the time. But when you're a real good player on a real bad team, you don't know how good he really is until he's able to play with good players around him. I think he can become a very special player. I really do. Pascal Siakam's a very good player. Gary Trent is a streak shooter. They've got weird pieces. Dennis Schroeder is not Fred VanVleet, but on given nights, he's very good. I saw some of the media I thought was overly excited because of an adjustment coach made the other night and put Barnes at the point and brought Dennis Schroeder off the bench. And there seemed to be an awful lot of euphoria about Scotty Barnes being the point guard. That was one game against an absolutely horrific NBA team. So nothing to get too excited about right now. So long answer to a short question. But yeah, I think Scotty can be a real good player, whether he's upper echelon or not. Top 5, top 10, I don't know. But he's certainly a very good player that a lot of teams would love to have. And the Raptors need to find more and more ways to make him the center of what they're trying to do.
Paul Sir joining us here, talking a little NBA longtime pro player and coach. Paul, we'll talk about the teams at the top, but I have to ask you about the Detroit Pistons. 2-29 on the season. I mean, things were looking good to start the year. They were 2-1, and now they've lost 28 straight. It's actually pretty unbelievable what they've been able to do. In Detroit, is this the worst team you've ever seen?
No, there was a Philadelphia 76ers team back in the 80s. I think they went, well, now this Detroit team might threaten them. But there was a Cleveland Cavalier team that was in their initial season and a Philadelphia 76ers team that were every bit as bad as Detroit. And Detroit has a couple of nice young pieces. They just have a disaster of a franchise. And, losing begets losing. Like to have a 20-plus point lead against the Celtics and find a way to lose it in overtime the other night, man, oh man, that's a tough cycle to break. This, though, what I would say would be they're a very bad team. Can Toronto beat this very bad team? Or is this the team that Detroit's going to go into the game after just taking one of the best, if not the best team in the NBA to overtime? Are they going to be are they thinking to themselves, we have a real shot at breaking this streak against this team? And what does that mean to the Raptors if they are the team that Detroit breaks out of its slump against?
Oh, it'd be horrific. The Raptors in Boston to take on the Celtics. And then, like you said, heading to Detroit tomorrow. Back-to-back games. I mean, the situation might be as good as it could be for the Pistons. Now, you talked on the Boston Celtics there for a minute. Right now, they're first place in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, Milwaukee's going to be a tough task, and the Philadelphia 76ers only a couple games back. But when you look at this Eastern Conference, I mean, is this the year you think that the Boston Celtics can, obviously, they've been to the final, but punch on through and be a legit contender here for a championship?
Well, I think so, but it all comes down to health, because Porzingis, when they have Porzingis in the lineup and with the emergence of Derek White as an elite NBA guard, I think they're the best team in the NBA right now, talent-wise, 1 through 5. I think that is the best lineup in the NBA. They should be able to break through. They're well coached. They're seasoned. They've had the experience of getting to the finals and failing, which oftentimes is what has to happen in order to become a champion. You have to be able to almost taste it and not quite reach it, like the Celtics have. So I really believe this team, if healthy, will be the force that you just described, Connor, to reckon with when it comes to the playoffs.
Now, when you look out west, it's cool to see these teams that for a long time, I don't want to say, irrelevant, because they weren't irrelevant, but they weren't the big franchises out west. And it's cool to see those teams start to kind of climb up and get their way back into it, maybe providing hope for some of the teams that are at the bottom right now. But the Golden State Warriors are a team we're used to seeing, in the playoff picture and being right there. And this year they're hovering right now below 500 outside of the playoffs. It's too early to write them off totally, isn't it?
I think it is. They've had injury problems. I don't know what in the world's wrong with Andrew Wiggins. I thought Andrew Wiggins became the new version of Andrew Wiggins when he was an all-star. They won the championship. But this year he has been mediocre at best. I don't know you never know what's going on in a player's life, like what would affect him that way. But he certainly has not been the factor at 28 years of age you would expect him to be. Curry's been phenomenal. Thompson seems to be finding his rhythm again. Draymond Green is an absolute nightmare and head case that I think is a huge distraction to the team. But they have some younger players. Podzemski, I think, I want to make sure I pronounce it correctly. But what a find as a rookie. Atypical player. When he runs on the court, you don't think that's the NBA guy. But man, does he make things happen. So they're in the midst of this. Some of the younger players are starting to develop. If Draymond comes back with a lobotomy and actually can stay in the lineup, they, I think, could find their rhythm as the year goes on. But the West itself, as you were mentioning, when you look at what Sacramento has become, and that is a team that if you haven't watched them play, you really need to, because they're a lot of fun to watch play. But these small market teams, Denver, the defending champion included, have built through the draft and through very strategic trades. And now they're right in the thick of it in the West, where you really thought this year it was going to be Golden State, it was going to be the Clippers, it was going to be the Nuggets, of course. But now you've got 11 teams, I think, that are in the mix that will be a very interesting ending in the Western Conference, I think, at the end of this year. I still think the Nuggets are the favorites. They got the best player in the game in Jokic. Jamal Murray is right back into all-star form. So I think they're the team to beat. But there are a lot of other teams that I think are a genuine threat in the West.
I'm with you. I mean, and seeing like OKC, even the Clippers sitting in fourth, it's good to see in the Minnesota Timberwolves as well. A great start to the season so far. Paul, just one more question for you as we're looking around the NBA. When you look at the Rookie of the Year race, Wemby is the name that I think a lot of people look at, and all the hype that was surrounding him as he was selected by the San Antonio Spurs. But who are some other candidates we could potentially see down the stretch, maybe make a name for themselves in the Rookie of the Year race?
Well, I mean, Wemby's a great player. He has not been a generational player. And by the way, at some time, I'd love to talk with you and Jason about, is it time for Pop to move on in San Antonio? Because that's a bad team. And Wemby has not made a difference in the W column thus far. And I think questions have to be asked, and maybe it is time for a change there. But he's very good. We'll see how good he'll be over time. There's no doubt he does some spectacular, special things. But Chet Holmgren, I think, has surprised everybody in OKC. Gilgeous-Alexander may very well, he has to be mentioned in the top 3 for the MVP race this year. He's been phenomenal. It's been great to see Oklahoma City emerge the way they have as a team, as a unit. And a lot of that's due to Holmgren. He's very good. And if I had to vote today, I'd probably vote for Holmgren over Wemby myself because of the wins and the impact he's having on a better team, granted, but still winning counts for a lot in terms of a player's contributions. But the third guy that I love, and I think this is a lesson that we always need to remind ourselves of, is he's not the 7'4" kid that Wemby is, but Jaime Jaquez. I don't have the pronunciation right, but in Miami has, like, look at how they're playing without Jimmy Butler. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it is because of his play. Watching him last year at UCLA, to me, was a real pleasure. He is fundamentally sound. He's extremely tough, but he's one of those kids that gets his points and makes his contribution both ends of the court, rebounds the ball well, but finds a way to score and gets a lot of tough baskets. So I think he has to be mentioned because his numbers are comparable. And again, he has had a net positive impact that I think you really have to weigh heavily in a Rookie of the Year consideration, because Miami, which started out kind of stumbling along, have Jimmy Butler out of the lineup, and they continue to win and continue to beat some good teams. And a lot of it comes down to Jaquez's contribution.
Yeah, 4 straight wins right now for the Miami Heat. I believe 7-3 in their last 10, playing some good ball. Paul, thanks so much for doing this today. Really appreciate having you on, and a Happy New Year to you and the family.
Real pleasure, Connor. Happy New Year to you as well. And it's exciting time with 1440 being such a force. And I'll tell you, real quickly before I go, I cannot tell you how many people I talk to who listen to Sports 1440 are just so excited about Sport Talk being back in spades in the community, and so much of it comes from this show and the work that you do, Connor. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Paul. That means a lot. There you go. Longtime pro basketball player and coach Paul Sir joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show, as he always does, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Check them out, legacyheating.ca. When we come back, we talked about rivalries a little bit. Do the LA Kings hate the Oilers fans? Do Oilers fans still hate the Stars and Avalanche and maybe the Hurricanes? Obviously, we know the Flames and Canucks are right in there, the Leafs too. We'll talk about that coming up next. Our crack research team, Marty Stevens and Brad Slater, dropping off some information. So we'll get to that in the next segment. Let us know, 1-833-401-1440. Who are your top 3 hated teams in the NHL? Or, if you're a Raiders fan, tell us who they are from a Raiders fan perspective. Whatever it is, let us know which teams you dislike the most. Right now, we're going to get to an update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Have a warm winter. Go to legacyheating.ca. Here is Brandon Douglas.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
World Junior action this morning from Gothenburg, Sweden. Team Canada suffering their first loss of the tournament to home nation Sweden. 2-0 the final score. USA beat Czechia 4-3 in a shootout. Finland blanked Latvia 4-0. And Slovakia doubled up on Norway 8-4. From the Spengler Cup in Switzerland, Canada, they beat Finnish team Kalpakopio 6-3, improving Canada's record to 2-1. 9 games late in the NHL tonight, including Columbus hosting Toronto. Jersey is in our nation's capital to play the Senators. Colorado plays St. Louis. Philadelphia, they go back-to-back in the Pacific Northwest tonight, playing the Seattle Kraken. Edmonton Oil Kings resume their Western road trip in Vancouver to play the Giants. And the Alberta Junior Hockey League, it gets back underway with 5 games on tap, including the Sherwood Park Crusaders heading north to play Grand Prairie, and Camrose taking on Fort McMurray. 10 games in the association. Toronto Raptors, they go to Boston. The Magic host the Knicks. Philly plays Houston, and the Clippers welcome Memphis into Crypto.com Arena. U Sports resuming non-conference action to get ready for their second half. U of A Pandas Volleyball hosts the New Year's Classic tournament at the Saddle this weekend. They play Quebec tonight at 7. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by John Hoven from Mayor's Manor, covering the Los Angeles Kings, as well as Anaheim Ducks pre- and post-game host Alexis Downey. I'm Brandon Douglas. That's your Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
When basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal joined the team at Papa John's, he brought some big ideas. But his biggest idea is the Shaq-a-Roni pizza. It's a massive pizza designed to feed big appetites and make a big impact. It comes with 8 foldable Shaq-sized slices, loaded with extra cheese and extra pepperonis. But what makes it really big is that for every Shaq-a-Roni sold through December 31st, 2023, Papa John's donates $1 to Second Harvest to provide 3 healthy meals to people and agencies in need. The Shaq-a-Roni is bigger than pizza. Get yours today for only $21.99, only at Papa John's.
Everyone loves a comeback. Hi, I'm Colin from Cantork. The flame of Edmonton sports fever burns bright. Cantork proudly continues our partnership with Jason Gregor, excited to re-enter the arena of sports radio on Sports 1440.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. United's annual Boxing Day sale is on now. Scratch and save 10 to 60% off store-wide. Time to spend that Christmas cash and buy yourself what you didn't get for Christmas. United Sport and Cycle, your favorite sports store for over 95 years.
With the rising costs of food, more Edmontonians than ever are struggling to provide a holiday meal for their families. When you donate to the Holiday Hamper Foundation, you help provide festive meals and gifts for 1,500 Edmonton families in need. Your contribution will purchase turkeys or fish for every family, the centerpiece of their holiday meal, and you'll receive a tax receipt for your generous donation. Please support the Holiday Hamper Foundation. Donate today at holidayhamper.ca.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Roger Weird at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Get ready to make a game day decision with McDonald's Fan Day deals. Grab a $4 Big Mac, McChicken, or Filet-O-Fish sandwich exclusively through the McDonald's app. Wow, what a deal. Plus tax valid on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays for a limited time at participating restaurants in Alberta and Northwest Territories.
Sports radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We are back here on the Jason Gregor Show, hour number 2. We've got the Baja Blast in our cups. We're ready to go, Brandon. The show, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. You can call the shots with same-game parlays. Now live at PlayAlberta.ca. Sign up today and use code SPORTS50 to get a free $50 bet. Coming to you live from the Ewell Studios. Ewell gives you more than premium quality electrical products. Are you ready to elevate your projects? Contact Ewell to discuss how they can partner with you for success. EWEL.ca. 1-833-401-1440 is the text line if you want to chime in here on the show. Lots to get to still. This hour, we're going to preview the weekend for the Edmonton Oilers. John Hoven of Mayor's Manor will join us to discuss those Los Angeles Kings. And Alexis Downey, the Ducks pre- and post-game host on Duck Stream, will join us in about 40 minutes' time to discuss the Anaheim Ducks. And kind of we'll roll into that because we got the list here, and you might have seen it floating around on social media. Fan bases most hated teams. A survey of more than 2,000 people from different fan bases were asked to pick their most hated team, their most hated rival. And the Edmonton Oilers pop up a little bit. The LA Kings have the Edmonton Oilers as their number 1 most hated team, ahead of the Vegas Golden Knights and the Anaheim Ducks. Now, the last 2 playoff series probably goes a long way. Social media has just lit fuel to the fire, and people get really worked up about it now. It gets personal on social media. So I can see why that would happen. For the Edmonton Oilers, the most hated teams ranked 1 through 3 are the Calgary Flames, the Vegas Golden Knights, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. No surprise, the Toronto Maple Leafs pop up basically on every team's list, maybe except the Ducks and the Coyotes because they're so far away and they probably just don't get Canadian media quite as much and don't have to worry about it. But they are very popular. When you look at some other teams that apparently dislike the Oilers, the Vegas Golden Knights dislike the Edmonton Oilers. They are the number one most hated team. And that's kind of it. The Calgary Flames obviously dislike right there. Some Oilers dropping in for the Vancouver Canucks, the third most disliked team behind the Bruins and the Leafs. Bruins beat them in the Stanley Cup final. That makes sense. They don't hate the Rangers anymore. Got to let bygones be bygones and move on from that one. But let us know, 1-833-401-1440. Who is your most hated fan base or team? Like, who is it? You're a Ducks fan, Brandon. So going back, maybe take off your media hat, put your fan hat on. Which teams to this day do you still dislike?
The Detroit Red Wings, for sure. Of course, they're now in the Eastern Conference, but long time stonewall to the Ducks, even during their best years of Curry and Solani, unable to make it very deep in the playoffs, often running into the Red Wings during, what was their heyday.
They were loaded.
They were the best team in the league for a long time. The only team that could really beat them were the Avalanche, and even that didn't happen all the time. Of course, the LA Kings. It was kind of the nice thing for what was the equivalent of 5 years, being able to, lord it over Kings fans that, yes, the Ducks were the first team from the West Coast to win the Cup. The Kings followed that up by beating the Ducks on home ice in Game 7 en route to their first championship, and then again in 2014. So it's or they beat them in 2014. Pardon me, won in 2012. But so the Kings for sure. Red Wings, long history there. If I were to pick a third one, I know Oilers fans do hate the Ducks. Not Ducks fans. They hate the Ducks because of the 2017 situation. There's no ill will back the other way, though, because we talked about it. When you win, it doesn't matter as much. It's like, why does a lion concern itself with the opinion of the sheep, right?
You're watching Game of Thrones, aren't you?
Well, I was. But I think that expression goes well beyond just that show.
I thought I saw, the picture of that with,
it is
Jamie
on that
Lannister
show because the lion is the Targaryen, the Lannister sigil. But it's just a common expression, I think. I don't know if I could think of a third team.
So do you want to know what the survey says?
Sharks, maybe.
No, the survey says Kings one, Golden Knights second, and Blackhawks third.
Yeah, the Blackhawks also beat the Ducks. One of the years that they kind of had their best versions of the team, 2015. Blackhawks went on to win the Cup there, like the Kings did in 14, and then like the Predators did in 2017. So, and the Predators have beat the Ducks in the playoffs a couple times as well. So if you think about it, and I don't have the list in front of me like you do, but I would think that playoff matchups and beating you out when in years that you think you had the team to do it, I think that holds more value, especially recency bias on it as well.
So just kind of scrolling through here. I mean, there are some interesting, the Boston Bruins for sure. When you're a popular fan base, you're just certainly going to get more hatred. That's just the way it goes. So the Bruins are up there quite a bit. The Rangers, you got a lot of the Penguins, the Golden Knights are everywhere because why wouldn't you? They just won the Stanley Cups. Of course you do. Greg texting into 1-833-401-1440 says, I wonder if Toronto hates Edmonton. Well, the Maple Leafs, according to this survey, the top three teams are the Bruins at 1, the Canadiens at 2, and the Senators at 3. The Senators kind of surprised me, as do the Canadiens. It's been a while. I mean, I thought maybe they might just say, kind of lovable losers at this point, but it's good the rivalry hangs in there. Bruins makes a whole lot of sense. I thought maybe the Lightning might get in there. The Lightning, just scrolling through here, only one team hates them, and it is the Florida Panthers. But not the most. The Florida Panthers fan base hates them the second most after the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is hilarious because everyone seems to hate Toronto. Jeff texting in saying the biggest rivals for me are Calgary, Vancouver, Vegas, Dallas, and Colorado. Yeah, I mean, if you were a fan during the late 90s, early 2000s, Dallas and Colorado have to be there. Those teams were loaded. The Oilers did all they could. And then, Calgary, Vancouver for sure, recency, and then Vegas, absolutely. I mean, I loved it. That the playoffs, the series between Vegas and Edmonton was a lot of fun. I mean, the Evander Kane scoring the goal, and then the Vegas Golden Knights fan flipping him the bird. That picture is iconic. Used a lot in social media circles. So that's certainly a good one. Spaghetti is saying Flames, Canes, and Leafs hated all equally. That's fair. That's fair. We talked a little bit about it because some people don't hate the Canes as much, but I certainly get why you would dislike them. as a fan of the Edmonton Oilers, or a longtime fan, AH says Toronto, Vancouver signed toxic Oiler fans. Oh, and toxic Oiler fans. I am an Oilers fan, but a portion of our fan base drives me nuts. That's fair, because just looking at the results here, the most annoying fan base, just in percentages, 37% of people thought it was the Leafs, 10% the Sens. The Sens are sickos, and the Oilers tied for third with the Rangers at 9%. Brandon, I think being a non-Oilers fan in Edmonton probably can be a little bit. It could probably be a lot for you.
It's reached the point of humor for me, and at times it can reach intolerability, especially with the Oilers' recent rise to being a very competitive team and a actually contending team for a couple of years running now. I did not grow up in Edmonton. Growing up, kind of split between just about almost exactly halfway east of Red Deer, outside of Delburn. It was a pretty good split of Flames and Oilers fans around me growing up, but it was small town. It kind of is what it is. You don't pay much attention. I was a Ducks fan growing up, moved to Edmonton to go to university, back home for a bit, and then back here again for Nate. Living in Edmonton for the number of years that I have now, Oilers fans are insane. They are. And yes, there's a very good portion that are level-headed and, even keel. They look at things through a realistic lens, but there is just as many that are absolutely out to lunch. The amount of texts that we get on this show that think we should trade a player that wouldn't even rank in another system's top 10 prospects. We can just trade them straight across for some team starting goalie or something. Like, the overvaluing of your own assets as a fan, it's natural. It always happens. You pay more attention to these guys. You think they're better than they are, whether it be a fourth line player, prospect, whatever. So Oilers fans, I get it. I can totally understand why you said it was tied for third on that list.
Yeah,
I get it. I can see it. And I have a lot of very good friends that are Oilers fans. I got some friends that are Leafs fans. Some are intolerable. Some are very modest and nice. You'll find it across any fan base, no matter what.
I will say, I think there has to be a correlation between the passion of the fans and their annoyance level.
100%.
Which makes me kind of confused how the Calgary Flames got 0% of the most annoying fan base. But I guess recently they've been pretty quiet.
Yeah.
If you would have done it, after game 1 of the Oilers Flames series, probably a little bit higher, but they've dropped off quite a bit. Yeah, the Maple Leafs leading the way. The Sens kind of surprised me. Maybe they had a lot of confidence going into this season, hasn't quite gone their way, obviously.
Maybe a lot of the people surveyed were Leafs fans.
That would be accurate, probably.
Every person surveyed as a Leafs fan said Ottawa. Every other person in the entire league that was surveyed said Toronto.
It would make sense. Aaron texting in to the Jiffy Lube inbox, 1-833-401-1440. Who do the Canadians hate? Well, the Montreal Canadiens, it might not surprise you. The Leafs are number 1. They've got the Boston Bruins at number 2 and the Ottawa Senators at number 3. So the Eastern Canadian, the original 6 matchups, I get it. The Bruins, you and I talked about it. It's been a while for the city of Boston, maybe Foxborough, New England, but that area had a lot of wins, and I think a lot of sports fans grew to detest them. I hated the Red Sox. I hate the Patriots.
People hate the Patriots, and now that is shifting towards the Chiefs. We've talked about that extensively across all programming. I think Kevin and I have talked about it. You and I have talked about it. I think you and Gregor have touched on it over the course of the season too. Nobody's feeling sorry for the Chiefs that none of their receivers can catch a pass.
No.
As soon as you win, you become a target.
Got to throw the ball better, Patrick. That's all you have to do. Lay it in there.
Throw a more catchable ball.
Yeah, it's simple.
Justin Herbert.
Well, no, that's not on him. That's on his receivers. Quentin Johnston. Greg says, where can we find these lists? I believe it's JFresh Hockey on Twitter.
Yes.
Some of his analytics confuse me at times because, I would say when I look at analytics, it's like maybe 30% for me, 70% eye test. But yeah, he got these statistics. So at JFresh Hockey on Twitter or X. Cliff says, from Red Deer, don't forget the most hated team for Leafs fans, the Leafs. Well, they do want to ship out their players all the time. I'm fortunate to hop on.
And Oilers fans never do that.
No, of course not. Of course not. It's all logical. I do a little hit with Scott Mitchell down in Camrose. He's a Leafs fan. And we talk about the Leafs because it's so funny. Like, got to trade Marner. Not him per se, but the fan base. And we try to figure out what happens there. That's passion. And Brandon from Victoria, as an Oilers fan on the West Coast, Canucks fans are the worst right now. I can see it. I still remember going to games when it was Marcus Naslund and Todd Bertuzzi and the young Sedins, and they were they kind of beat up on the Oilers. And their fans, they're all drinking beers with a straw, and they would just be chirping us. So annoying. So annoying. So I get that, Brandon. Stay strong out there. We'll see what happens at the end of the year. If the Canucks keep this up, they got a great chance to do some damage, but you got to see what happens. Playoff hockey is a lot different than what we're seeing right now, and we've seen that firsthand here in Edmonton. What we're going to do now is take a break, and when we come back, we will talk a little LA Kings with John Hoven of Mayor's Manor. We'll also be talking to Alexis Downey at 3:40. She's the Ducks pre- and post games on the Ducks stream. We'll talk about the Ducks because the Oilers, of course, play the Kings tomorrow and the Ducks on Sunday. So we'll talk a little bit about what's going on down in SoCal. Maybe they'll give me some talk about the LA Chargers as well. I'm sure they don't care about the Chargers, but I might ask. We'll see. It is the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas sitting in here on Sports 1440, as well as Oilers Nation's YouTube and Facebook channels.
There's 2 seasons in Alberta, winter and construction. During these days of traffic barricades and slower commutes, GS Construction reminds you those crews are improving our communities. They're rehabilitating and upgrading Edmonton's infrastructure all across the city. When you see the barricades and run into a traffic backup, remember, the crews are there to help. Drive slow and be patient. Help make our city better and join the GS Construction team. See what they're hiring for on Indeed.com. GS Construction, laying the groundwork for your community since 1974.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 7th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase style, regular season gameplay, and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes, born between 2011 and 2016. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Rodeo clowning felt like an exciting opportunity. Boy, was I ever wrong. The bulls. So predictable. But you know what's exciting and unpredictable? PlayAlberta.ca. I can bet on any sports game, play online casino games anytime, and buy lottery tickets anywhere.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today and get over $100 in welcome bonuses. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
First Round is Edmonton's NFL headquarters. Get in the game and watch NFL football this season at First Round. And you'll have a chance to win a trip to your favorite NFL city to watch a game in person next season. And the hits keep on coming with food and drink specials, big screen TVs, and more. Catch the Pro Bowl brunch every Sunday, Monday Night Football, and head in Thursdays for your chance to win an NFL replica helmet. NFL at First Round. Burgers, beer, sports. Downtown West Edmonton Mall and at 1strmd.ca.
For years now, we've been warning Edmontonians on the hazards of our stormwater facilities. While they may appear to look like still ponds, there is moving water beneath the surface, which makes the ice dangerously... The unpredictability of stormwater facilities makes them treacherously unsafe for all winter activities, even walking. So think twice. Don't go on the ice. A safety message from EPCOR.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit FountainTire.com today.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Are you one of those people out there looking for something different to heat and cool your home? Weiss Johnson is Edmonton's cold climate heat pump specialist and would love to explain to you how Trane heat pumps are a reliable, cost-effective alternative for your home's heating and cooling needs. Order your Trane heat pump now and take advantage of the generous government rebates that are available. Train, it's hard to stop a train. Call the most experienced HVAC company around with over 45 years in business. Visit wjcools.com today.
Is your school, charity, or community group looking for support with a capital project? Maybe Vision Credit Union can lend a helping hand. Vision is proud to offer helping hand grants of up to $10,000 to qualifying organizations for capital projects that benefit our branch communities. Apply by January 30th, 2024 for a chance to qualify. Helping hand grants of up to $10,000 from Vision Credit Union. Learn more at whatsyourshare.ca.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.323, welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. If you're going to play, make sure you use your game sense. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas with you here as we're getting you through this positive Friday. Of course, you can always join the conversation. 1-833-401-1440. That is the text line. We're going to be talking about rivals a little bit here because we kind of got on the topic. Jay Fresh had the survey out there about rivals with teams, and for the Edmonton Oilers, they appeared on a few lists. I don't know if it's just the fans that people dislike or the actual team, but the LA Kings, according to the survey, had the Edmonton Oilers as their number one most disliked team. And the LA Kings playing some great hockey this season so far. Of course, the two teams have met in each of the last two playoffs, with the Oilers being victorious in each of those two series. So let's preview that game tomorrow. Let's go around the NHL. Brought to you by McDonald's, and get the sweet maple barbecue and savory bacon as they unite on a 100% Canadian beef quarter pounder. Now at McDonald's, but only for a limited time. Maple barbecue and bacon. That's a great combination. I once had it on a Sunday, but it's even better on a burger. We now bring in John Hoven of Mayor's Manor. John, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Connor, I'm doing outstanding. I love hearing that survey about the fans there and where their hatred lies these days. That's good to hear.
Well, I mean, and that's kind of where I wanted to start, because we threw it out there earlier on in the show. I can tell you, growing up as an Oilers fan, late 90s, early 2000s, I absolutely hated the Dallas Stars. But talking to Dallas Stars fans, they would tell me, well, we didn't really hate you guys because we just beat you all the time. So the Oilers fans right now maybe don't hate the LA Kings quite as much as they hate the Vegas Golden Knights, the Flames, or the Toronto Maple Leafs. But the Kings fans seem to dislike the Oilers. Is that something you've noticed with your interactions with the fan base?
Yeah, it reminds me back around 2010, it was a pretty interesting dynamic between the Kings and other teams.
Mm-hmm.
The fan base really hated the Anaheim Ducks and the San Jose Sharks, yet the players privately in the room talked more about their hatred for the Sharks and the Canucks. And so there's a little bit of a recency bias, I think, that's taking place right now. When you talk about Kings fans hating the Edmonton Oilers, you look at the lack of playoff success over the last two seasons against Edmonton. And so the LA fans are going to obviously dislike Edmonton right now. But big picture, I think that the majority of Kings fans, they save their hatred these days more for the Vegas Golden Knights and their long-standing hatred for the Anaheim Ducks. But Edmonton, it'll be a festive atmosphere in the building here in Los Angeles tomorrow night when the two teams hook up for the first time in the regular season. And of course, Edmonton fans don't really hate Los Angeles because they love coming here and buying up all the tickets and taking advantage of the warm weather this time of the year. So it'll be a fun game tomorrow night at Crypto.com Arena.
Oh, absolutely. I'm envious of all the Oilers fans that got to escape our cold, albeit not as cold as usual, to get down to LA for a few days, maybe do Disneyland. That could be a good time. So jealous of the fans that did make it down here. Now, I want to ask you, because I did see some reports here, and we'll get to the actual game in a second, but reports that the LA Kings could potentially revisit their uniforms going forward next year. Is there any truth to this from what you've heard?
Yeah, so about a week or so ago, we broke the story on mayorsmanor.com. People can go there and check it out. It's also linked to the top of my Twitter page, Mayor NHL. But yeah, the Kings are taking a look. Next year is going to be an interesting year around the league because with the move from Adidas to Fanatics, teams are, from what we hear, are going to be somewhat limited in the amount of jersey changes that they can make. At one point, there was even talk about teams being limited to just home and road jerseys due to, of course, supply chains and production issues and things like that. So we'll have to see where it goes. But the Kings introduced their current alternate jersey right now, which is a heritage jersey or a throwback jersey. It's a modernization of the early 90s jersey with a different logo than what they've used here for the last 15 years or so. And there seems to be some movement that they're going back in that direction. Some people call them the Gretzky era jerseys, although that might, rub some of the Edmonton fans the wrong way. But that black and silver look with a different logo than what they've used that says LA on the front. So we'll see if that's the direction. And if that's the case, there's a mock-up of what the black jersey might look like. We also had some intel. They were testing out some different numbers using silver, white, black, different variations on both the white and black jerseys. So great article there. People want to go check it out. Should be a little bit of a fresh look for the Kings heading into the 24-25 NHL season.
I would absolutely embrace that if they were to go back to the Gretzky era look. I think those are some of the nicest jerseys we've seen. So I would be a fan of it. Call it the Gretzky era if you want. It doesn't upset me at all. John Hoven joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas sitting in today. You can catch John's work at Mayor's Manor. And now the LA Kings playing some good hockey as of late. I know they dropped the game to the Vegas Golden Knights 3-2 in Vegas, so not a terrible result really. But before that, winning 4 of 5. How has the team been looking as of late, John?
Well, they look like two different teams. Out on the road, they've been world beaters, but at home, they've basically been playing 500 hockey. Straightened things out a little bit more recently, but they're going to need to improve at home, not only against Edmonton on Saturday, but they're going to overall head as we head here into the second half of the season. Team needs to play, their style of hockey, which is a strong defensive game, and then putting up pucks, putting up goals offensively. Coming into this year, really it started about a year ago, but this team is up their offensive game. Historically, when you think of the LA Kings and success, you think about them playing a strong defensive game, winning a lot of games 2-1 or maybe 3-2. But the offense has really started to come around over the last few years through a series of trades that have brought in guys like Deneau and Kevin Fiala, and then some of the younger kids that have been chipping in, whether it's Trevor Moore or Arthur Kaliev and things like that. Obviously, Kempe's turned into a world-class goal scorer. So this year, with the addition of Dubois, they have 3 solid lines offensively, but they have really 4 lines that they're comfortable throwing over the boards, at any given moment. And the defense is shored up a little bit after the trade for Gavrikov from the Columbus Blue Jackets last year. So they like this lineup. They feel this lineup here this season is stronger than it was last year. And of course, if they plan on beating Edmonton at some point in the playoffs, they're going to need to be a better team, given the results over the last couple of years. Those series were close, but LA didn't have what they needed to be able to get past the Oilers just quite yet.
What have you made of the play of Anze Kopitar? Obviously 36 years old, but showing no signs of slowing down.
We talked a lot a few years ago with Phil Deneau after his breakout season with the Kings about the word regression. And he talked about you don't want regression, you want progression. And when you talk about Anze Kopitar at his age and the number of seasons he's played the National Hockey League, regression would be a natural thing to take a look at. He is actually Mr. Consistency. If you look back over the history of his career, year by year, season by season, you'll see that he just continues to be a very consistent player, and there hasn't been any sort of regression. And if anything, there's actually been progression in his game this year. It's interesting because with Dubois coming over, it has once again helped to balance out the lines and reduce the amount of minutes that he has to play. And even with those reduced minutes, Kopitar looks to be having one of his better offensive seasons. So he certainly is fresh when he's out there, shows no signs of slowing down. He signed a 2-year contract extension over the summer as well. We'll have to see if that's going to be his, final 2 years in the NHL. That's a ways to go at this point. But Kopitar, no signs of slowing down, and really a solid line with, youngster Quentin Byfield on one side and Adrian Kempe, who I mentioned, has had two back-to-back phenomenal years offensively over on the other wing.
John Hoven joining us here talking about the LA Kings as the Oilers in LA to take on the Kings tomorrow night. That's an 8 o'clock Mountain Time puck drop, 7 o'clock local time. Now, on the blue line, I think a guy that some Oilers fans would say they have hated over the years, Drew Doughty, and it's based on respect because Doughty is one hell of a player. But how has Doughty looked this season?
Much like what I just said about Anze Kopitar, the fountain of youth is not really, or I should say, is benefiting Drew Doughty. And if anything, this year he's looked the best that he's probably looked in a few years. And that's not saying that the past couple of seasons haven't been solid for Drew, but he is playing with a little bit of jump in his step. He's asked for the general manager to improve this club. That's exactly what they've done over the last 2 seasons. And he's excited. He was really disappointed about missing out on that playoff series with the Oilers due to injury last year. He's pumped for this year. This team is better than they were a year ago. And they're poised for hopefully what should be a long playoff run. And that's really, turned up the wicket for Drew Doughty. He's played solid. He's also added a few tools to his toolbox and is looking to improve his offensive numbers and really has been showing off a nice shot from out on the blue line, especially on the power play. So vintage Drew is a comment that's been heard more than once this season as you watch him play.
I can't wait to see maybe he and Evander Kane go into the corner and see what might happen when that happens. Between the pipes, Cam Talbot's looked fantastic. A big game or big save. Dave, obviously, as Oilers fans like to refer to Dave Radagaz. How has the situation been with the loss of Copley as well?
Well, I think everybody was certainly holding their breath at the beginning of the season coming in when looking at the goaltenders. I've mentioned several times now about the improvement on the roster. The one real serious question mark coming into the season locally in Los Angeles and really across the league when it came to the LA Kings was between the pipes. And Cam Talbot has stood up and stood tall. And, is he going to be able to work his way into the Vezina conversation? We'll have to see. His numbers have certainly been ridiculous and far beyond what even the most optimistic Kings fan or member of Kings management could have hoped for. Cam Talbot has really delivered for Coach Todd McClellan, who was a big fan of him from his time that they spent together in Edmonton and, tried to tell everybody how good this player was. And he's proven it between the pipes. Then there was a collective holding of the breath when Copley went down with injury a few weeks ago. Really, it's funny because you talked about the fan base at the top of the interview. About a month ago, people were ready to send Phoenix Copley, anywhere that they could. They weren't happy with his play to start the season. And now people were up in arms and, the season might be over because Copley, the backup goaltender, was injured. So it's kind of funny how things have changed over the last 30 days. But Dave certainly has stepped in and done an admirable job now. To be fair, he's won 2 games. They both have been against the Sharks. The Sharks are not as bad as their record, but they're still the Sharks at this point, and they're not in the same sort of tier as the LA Kings or even the Edmonton Oilers would be. So 2 wins for Dave. He's been able to come in and do what he needs to do as a backup goaltender. We'll see how many starts he gets here over the next 4 to 6 weeks, and at that point, they'll have to make a decision as Copley works his way back from injury. Which player is going to stay and serve as the backup, and which player is going to have to go on waivers and potentially finish the season in the American Hockey League if they don't get picked up by another club.
And it's safe to say Talbot gets to start tomorrow?
Oh, for sure. Well, when it comes to Todd McClellan, you can't say anything's for sure. But let's certainly say that he's penciled in with a really dark, thick shade of lead. Yes, I would expect Cam Talbot between the pipes tomorrow night for the LA Kings.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun. John, thanks so much for doing this today. Really do appreciate it. And say hi to Dennis Bernstein for me.
Absolutely, will do. Thanks, Connor. We'll talk to you soon.
For sure. That is John Hoven of BearsManor.com. Check out his work. Really appreciate him coming on the show. Big supporter of sports radio in Edmonton. He's hopped on our airwaves for a long time. So happy to have John join us today. Talk about the LA Kings, who the Oilers will take on tomorrow down in SoCal. That's for McDonald's. Might grab a McFlurry tonight. Celebrate the week. A little Oreo. Add a little extra fudge. Come on. You got to treat yourself every once in a while, Brandon.
You might have just talked me into it.
It didn't take much convincing.
No,
I know you got a McDonald's by your house.
I have a McDonald's by my house. And more importantly, that I have a huge sweet tooth and I'm also a glutton. So you don't need to ask me twice when it comes to basically anything ice cream. But yeah, you get some, the Smartie is the classic, I think. But
the candy cane one?
No.
They had that over the holidays.
Candy cane is like the most overrated candy of all time. They stink. Score McFlurry. But then, yeah, the key is to make sure you add the fudge.
And extra crumble.
And or caramel. Maybe both.
Oh, maybe.
But good. If not one, definitely the other. So who knows? Maybe I'll indulge in a little McFlurry on my way home today as well.
I think everyone should. Then take a picture and tweet it.
It's the weekend.
Yeah, celebrate. No way
Good
to
times.
ring in the new year with a
Come on.
McFlurry. love McDonald's. The text coming in here. Boys, we only make that list because we have 2 of the best players. Watch that number if we win. That's from iMac, is the tied for 3rd most annoying fans or most hated team. Yeah, that could be part of it. I think the fan base plays a little bit of a role in it. Ed texting into 1-833-401-1440 saying, I hate players more than I hate teams, per se. I hated Ryan Kessler, Mark Stone, Mikey Anderson, Mangiapane, Getzlaff. On a positive note, I love Iggy and I loved Sidney the Kidney. Go Oilers, go. Yeah, Jerome McGinley was a weird one because he was unbelievable. Hated him, but also respected him.
Do you think Flames fans felt the same way about Smitty?
I don't think so.
You hated him, but you respected him, or did they just hate him?
I don't think. I can't speak for every Oilers fan. I would never try to. But even when he played, I respected Jerome McGinley.
I think maybe it has to do with the fact that he's a local guy. He's from here, playing for Calgary.
Maybe.
It can kind of take some of that sting out, and the fact people, like you said, they respected the way he played. He played it honest, hard, great leader, great captain. You can say all those things about Ryan Smith. I mean, he's not from Calgary, so maybe that's the only element missing.
Banff, though.
But yeah, so I wonder if it's a kind of 2 sides of the same coin. They're kind of running parallel with each other about how each respective fan base felt about their most hated rival city's top player.
Yeah, I mean, someone might argue that Jerome McGinley is not from Edmonton, St. Albert, right? So, I mean, I think St. Albert, and I know St. Albert's a lot closer than Banff is to Calgary, but yeah, I mean, heart and soul guys. Jerome had more skill, no denying that, but both huge hearts, both won Olympic gold medals, represented their countries admirably, went to the Stanley Cup final and lost. So there are some parallels there.
Growing up as somebody that very rarely, actually, I went to Hinton all the time. That's where my grandparents were from. I always thought Banff was just as far away from Calgary as Jasper is from Edmonton. Despite looking at a map, could very obviously indicate otherwise.
Well, maybe like from Red Deer to Banff and Edmonton to Hinton, maybe.
Still closer.
Yeah, it's
Jasper is very far west.
But it's a nice drive. It's peaceful.
Yeah, through the Parkland County.
It's not as hectic as the QE2.
Beautiful, lots of nice trees.
Yeah.
The trees all look the same. And then you're coming up on Hinton when you can smell it. The mill.
Can you?
The pulp mill.
I mean, I don't think my nose works very well. I can't smell much. But yeah, well, next time I go out there, I'll take a look. I love Jasper. Love going out there for a night or two. We will take a break. When we come back, we will be joined by Alexis Downey. She covers the Ducks, does the pre- and post-game shows on the Ducks stream. That'll be the Oil Report. Coming up next here on the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by Play Alberta, live on Sports 1440 and the Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook stream.
How do you take your New Year's Eve?
I like it on the rocks.
Get ready for the ultimate New Year's Eve party at On the Rocks, Edmonton's premier live music and party venue.
Sunday, December 31st.
For $55, enjoy dinner first, or $25 for just the party vibe, featuring DJ Kenny King and the Barkells.
Get your New Year's Eve tickets to OTR ASAP.
Visit OnTheRocksEdmonton.com or grab tickets in person.
New Year's Eve on the Rocks.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Talking about rivals.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled. And
the survey
having a semi-trailer out of commission is
we now
not
bring
an
in
option.
John Hoven there.
Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a
For sure,
trailer
that is
right
John
for
Hoven
you
of Mayorsmanor.com.
online or on one of
Check
their
out
3
his
locations.
work.
For sales,
really
service,
him.
parts, rental, and
Work.
finance. When you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
A full-service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our next-gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
Get your vehicle ready for winter with Jiffy Lube. Drive-in, drive-out service with 25 extra air miles with your Shell Go Plus app. Be wise, winterize. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. Mark your calendars from December 1st to January 1st as Edmonton's largest indoor Christmas lights display, Glow Edmonton, returns to the Edmonton Expo Center. Experience the magic of over 1 million lights featuring a festive market, food, live performances, Glow Commotion train rides, pictures with Santa, and more. Get your tickets to learn more about what's on by visiting our calendar of events at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Get ready to make a game day decision with McDonald's Fan Day deals. Grab a $4 Big Mac, McChicken, or filet-o-fish sandwich exclusively through the McDonald's app. Wow, what a deal. Plus, tax valid on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays for a limited time at participating restaurants in Alberta and Northwest Territories.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Last Christmas, our granddaughters came to visit us from Australia. It was great to see those silly faces again. They're back in Oz now, but every Christmas we put a special light on the top of the No Bull building, one for Saxon and one for Goldie.
We look in the northern sky every Christmas, Papa.
You have to look really hard to see it from down there, but if you try hard enough, you can do it. Right, Saxon?
Can't wait to come back and see you and Grandma again.
We can't wait either. The RV lifestyle is about exploring the great outdoors and spending time with family. And that's why we added a third light, just for you. And a couple more for those who are special to you. There's real magic up there if you believe hard enough. So have a brilliant Christmas and a fulfilling New Year. From our family to yours.
My name is Saxon and I approve this message.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
344. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this Positive Friday edition of the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Connor Halley and Brandon Douglas sitting in today. Gregor will be back when we return next week in the new year, January 2nd. He'll also join us later on, about an hour and 20 minutes or so. We also have Craig Button, Mark Spector, and Wanye Gretz of Oilers Nation will be by to a co-host for the last couple hours. 5 questions, the ski report, a whole lot to get to. The Edmonton Oilers in action this weekend down in Southern California. They will take on the LA Kings on Saturday. And then I don't even know. Probably stay in the same hotel. It's a quick ride down to Anaheim for the game. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to get our next guest to fill us in on that, as it is time for the Oil Report, brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. They will pay your first 2 biweekly payments on any Volvo lease or save an additional $3,500 off XC60 plug hybrids until January 1st, only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. We bring in Alexis Downey. You can hear her on the pre- and post-game shows on Ducks Stream. Alexis, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this today. Really do appreciate it. And the Anaheim Ducks, kind of an up and down season. We've seen some good, some bad. There's been some injuries. The team's starting to get healthy. And it all kind of came together in that first period against the Vegas Golden Knights. 4 goals unanswered. Looked pretty impressive. How's the feeling around this team right now?
Yeah, it was quite an exciting win the other day over Vegas. I mean, just the fact that they were able to come back from the Christmas break and get a win and get such a hot start in that game was certainly a positive. But I think the energy's been good around the guys in the locker room. Obviously, having that break is always nice and getting to spend time with family. But in general, I think there's been a lot of things that the team has been doing well as of late. And I think they've been kind of feeding off of that now, despite, some of the losses still. I think it has still been a very positive energy that the group has.
I want to ask you about Mason McTavish, one of my favorite players. I mean, I love this story from him the last couple of years, representing his country on a bunch of different levels, playing for different junior teams. He was just all over the place. Kind of showed to me this kid just loves hockey and wants to get out there. In 27 games so far this year, he's got 24 points. What have you thought of McTavish's play this year?
He's been really great for the Anaheim Ducks. He started the season really strong, playing on that line with Frank Petrano and Ryan Strome. And then the line kind of had a little bit of a dead slide in their point production for a little bit. But as for Mason, I mean, he's such a hockey guy. You see it just in the way he is, the way he carries himself. And I know he did miss a couple games because he has also been dealing with an injury, but he has been back, and he had quite a night against Vegas the other night, 3 points, 3 assists. So I think that, he has such a bright future here in Anaheim. And I think the expectations are pretty high for him too. And he knows that. So it's been fun to see him continue to blossom this year and just see, what he can do.
Alexis Downey joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, guest hosting for Jason this afternoon. Alexis, one of the biggest surprises, I think, for a lot of Ducks fans has been the play of Pavel Mintyukov, of course, a top 10 pick a couple drafts ago. I would have thought Olen Zellweger cracked this big league roster before Mintyukov being an older player, but Zellweger down in San Diego, how much has Mintyukov impressed not only you and the team itself, but maybe the fan base down in Southern California?
He's definitely been the biggest surprise on the team this season. And I actually had a chance to speak with him this morning just about where he's at with his play and if he had any expectations for himself just coming into the season. And I mean, he said he feels good. He's happy with what he's been able to do so far. He has such good chemistry with Ilya Lyubushkin, his line mate, and it certainly helps that, they're able to have that cultural bind too, just having that background. So I think that's helped with his transition in general, but he's a really fun loving guy, just kind of a little goofy. You see his personality around, which I think can be a little rare sometimes because, new guys coming into the locker room could be intimidated, but he's a real joy to be around and certainly just such a surprise on the back end. I mean, he's been getting, he was getting consistent minutes on the power play, and now it's kind of transitioned a little bit more. He's more on penalty kill, kind of up to the coaching staff to decide his fate on that end too, with Jamie Drysdale back on the blue line. But, I think that there's just little things that he does in his game that really show his hockey IQ and just the details that he's worked on. That's something that Greg Cronin spoke a little bit about. He wants to see those details continue to improve, through this next part of the season or so. But he's been happy with his production so far in his first season.
Alexis Downey, our guest here talking Ducks. You can catch her pre- and post-game work on a Ducks stream here on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Alexis, this Ducks team got off to a really good start for the season, better than I think almost everybody expected. But then at the end of November and at the start of December, losing 8 straight, 1 win, and then 5 more losses. Of those two kind of variations of this team, which one do you think is more realistic to what we can expect the rest of the way here? Or is it somewhere in between?
I honestly think it's somewhere in between. There was some games in that stretch where the team was winning early that, Greg Cronin said, there were some games that they won that maybe they shouldn't have won, and some games that they lost that they shouldn't have lost. So it's been a good balance, I think, of the team just figuring out what winning is like and what losing is like, at least for the younger guys. It's all a part of this rebuilding process that, the Ducks know they're in. And it's been great to see the production that we've seen from these rookies and just how quickly that they've been able to get adjusted. But I think that we're at a point now in the season where there's a little more consistency being built, and that's something that they want to see moving forward. Just more consistent play, a fuller 60-minute effort from the team too. So I think that it is a little bit in between. There's some nights where you see the team get out to a really hot start, and typically in those games, they do better. But I think it's just about the full 60-minute effort that they're just looking for more consistently, and they're still trying to find that.
We are discussing the Anaheim Ducks with Alexis Downey here on the Jason Gregor Show. The Ducks, of course, hosting the Oilers on Sunday. Anaheim taking on the Coyotes tonight. And Alexis, one of the names that pops up all the time here, and I just want to see your opinion on it and how realistic it is, but do you think John Gibson could be a potential trade or a player that could be moved at some point this year if things don't turn around and the playoff push isn't going to be something that's realistic?
To be honest, from everything I have heard and just in my conversations, Pat Verbeek sees John Gibson a part of this Anaheim Ducks organization. John Gibson and his agent and Verbeek sat down at the beginning of the year, discussed what the future is like here in Anaheim, and how Verbeek and Gibson agreed, that he should be here because Verbeek wants a number one goaltender in the net as a part of this process to, when the team is ready, just have that goalie. And John Gibson, of course, has been in this league a long time at this point now. And last year was a hard year for him, just with the amount of shots that he had to face night in and night out. So I personally think he will be a part of the Ducks moving forward too, just in everything I know and just what I've heard from him, and just going as you look ahead to the future, just knowing that the organization wants him to be here as the team rebuilds, and when they're ready to be winning more consistently, they definitely want him as a part of that plan.
Alexis, one question for you here, not NHL related at all. Living down in Anaheim, do you go to Disneyland multiple times a year? And if so, do you have a favorite ride?
You're actually asking the wrong person. I have to be honest. I went to Disneyland for the first time in January of this year, and it was only because the Ducks do a special Ducks Day at Disney every year where all the players get to go, the fans are there, and it was really cool, and I would love to go back, but I haven't yet. So I need to, but when I was there, I loved the Cars ride. You got to sit in a car, one of the cars, and I thought that was pretty cool. But we get to go again in February, so hopefully I get to go and experience the whole thing at some point. But you would think I would go more often than I have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've always kind of been curious. I'm envious of the people that live in that area. I love Disneyland. I mean, yeah, the Cars ride, you're Lightning McQueen. It's always a good time. But had to ask you that question. Well, Alexis, thanks so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. And have a good show tonight as the Ducks take on the Coyotes.
Thanks so much for having me, guys.
There you go. That is Alexis Downey. Covers the team on the Ducks stream pre and post game shows. Appreciate that. I don't get to interview people from Anaheim too often. So when I do, as a huge Disneyland person myself that hasn't been there in way too long, I just got to try to ask around and see what the new rides are, because the Tower of Terror changed to Guardians of the Galaxy. Haven't been able to go on that ride yet, and I'm trying to do a little digging.
So Connor, you're an LA Chargers fan, previously of San Diego.
Yes.
Have you been to SoFi yet?
No, I have not been.
So, but you've been to SoCal a lot, probably stopping in LA to check things out, maybe on your way to either to or from San Diego to watch games. So how many times have you been to Disneyland?
Probably 5 times.
Really?
Yeah. My grandma lived in Palm Springs.
Oh.
So we'd go spend Christmas there. So we'd do kind of the triangle. We'd go Palm Springs, head to San Diego for a Chargers games, drive up. Yeah, I'd be up to LA, go to Disneyland, maybe Universal Studios for a little bit. I love that area. And I love San Diego. I would love to go back there, maybe watch a lacrosse game, the Padres. I think they've got some soccer down there. Go to Disneyland, go to a Chargers game. We were supposed to go in 2020, but something came up.
That didn't end up working out, did it?
It really put a wrench in the plans. We were going to do a Dodgers game and an Angels game, and it just did not work out for us. Such is life. That was the Oil Report, brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. Check them out, volvocarsedmonton.com. A couple texts here before we get to break, and we'll be welcoming Wanye Gretz of Oilers Nation in just in a few minutes here. Cat Dad says the San Diego Zoo is one of the most amazing places I've ever been. Cat Dad, you're on to something. Although I've never been. I went on a trip with a couple friends, and a few of them wanted to go to the zoo, and a couple of us wanted to go to Pacific Beach and have some beers at a pub, and we took that route. They went the other way, and I think everyone had a really good time.
This might come across as like a super like trying to be woke thing to say, but zoos honestly just really depress me.
Yeah.
And I've never been to the San Diego one. Haven't seen it.
Like they're trapped, you know?
Yeah, like maybe they do a great job. Even each day in the mall, we take our walk down the sea lion out here. I mean, like, I always wonder is like, where do they like, how much room do they have when they're not out in this pool? Like, where do they live? Like, I just think about it all the time. And I have a very soft spot in my my heart for animals, having grown up raising them and caring for them. I know people have to some people might seem hypocritical as a farmer to be concerned about zoo welfare and things like that. But I like to think that farmers, like, the animals are our way of life. We have to look after them and make sure they're treated well. So zoos, they're more about the bottom dollar, and, you know, most things are pretty replaceable for them. So I would love to go check out the San Diego Zoo and actually see it firsthand before forming a full opinion.
Yeah.
But zoos in general, they kind of just bum me out.
I went to SeaWorld.
And did it bum you out?
No, I was like in grade 3. Killer whales were really cool.
Very cool.
I feel like maybe it was, what's that movie? Free Willy.
Free Willy.
It made like
Curved
orcas.
dorsal fin.
It made orcas so cool. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, we got to go see
Well,
Shamu.
they are cool. They're like the apex predator.
Yeah. I mean, the more, like, as a kid, you're like, oh, it's so cute. And then you grow up and these things can get the job done.
And they're not a whale.
No?
They're a dolphin.
Really?
Yeah, they belong to the dolphin family.
Okay. Well, either way. SeaWorld was
Either
okay.
way, mammals.
Mammals. Vitamin J texting into 1-833-401-1440 says, I bet people in small town Alberta are jealous of people in Edmonton and West Edmonton Mall the same way. Yeah, but the West Edmonton Mall is free. Like Disneyland, even if you're a local, I think you get a discount, but it is still crazy expensive.
It's expensive to go. And keep in mind, like, anywhere in Alberta, apart from maybe the deep north, like you're not more than, like, the vast majority of the population isn't more than a few hours away. So,
yeah, and I mean,
like, maybe people in Saskatchewan or Manitoba are like jealous of Edmonton and West Edmonton Mall, but rural Alberta, I don't think so. You come once and you think it's like you've seen it.
The mall's pretty sick though. Like, we just walk around like, oh, there's a pirate ship. Oh, there's animals. Oh, there's the water park, Galaxyland. It's got it all.
Galaxyland. Chuba Hubbard, big fan.
Big fan. Noted fan. Big fan of the bridge too. He had that on his little suit.
The high level bridge?
No, the new bridge.
The Walterdale. Bridge.
Yeah. Big fan. Shout out to Chuba. We're big fans of Chuba here. Walter, talking about players you air quotes hate, says this Oiler fan considers Iginla a Canadian hero. Walter, can't disagree with you. I think a lot of people love Iggy. That's okay. He's a Avalanche, Bruins, Kings, Penguins legend. And last one goes to Kamak here. Hey, fellas, Kamak here. Speaking from personal opinion, I can honestly say that every player I've ever hated, air quotes, I would absolutely love to have on my team. Haha. Cheers, guys. Totally agree. You don't hate them because they suck. You usually hate them because they're good and they hurt your team, and it makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, it is interesting. Vitamin J says, what part of WEM is free? Well, it's free to walk in, my friend. We're not charging you to walk in. You can't even walk into Disneyland and really experience anything. But good point. Good point. To do all the attractions, it does cost money. So that is fair. But I mean, I can go to McDonald's and grab a cheeseburger for like $3, $2, have a coffee and enjoy it. Disneyland, that's going to cost you a solid 40 American. It's expensive out there. We better take a break. When we come back, we will get to Wanye Gretz of Oilers Nation, the Jason Gregor Show, Connor Halley, and Brandon Douglas sitting in today. We'll get to an update right now, brought to you by Fountain Tire. Fountain Tire is more than just tires. They offer a wide range of auto repair and services from their expert mechanics. Visit FountainTire.com to see all the mechanical services they offer. Here is Brandon Douglas.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station.
CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
How do you take your New Year's Eve?
I like it on the rocks.
Get ready for the ultimate New Year's Eve party at On the Rocks, Edmonton's premier live music and party venue.
Sunday, December 31st.
For $55, enjoy dinner first, or $25 for just the party vibe. Featuring DJ Kenny Can and the Barkells.
Get your New Year's Eve tickets to OTR ASAP.
Visit OnTheRocksEdmonton.com or grab tickets in person.
New Year's Eve on the rocks.
A full-service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
Building or renovating, you want to work with someone who sees and understands your vision. BIE Engineering is a family-owned, experienced structural engineering consulting firm serving commercial and residential clients in Edmonton and surrounding area. Homeowner or large company, they'll work with you to help see your ideas through. BIE Engineering can help prevent problems, deliver solutions, and minimize your risk. BIE Engineering. Request a quote for your project today. Visit bieeng.com.
Hey, Edmonton sports fans, my name is Jonas Knox. I host Two Pros and a Cup of Joe for Fox Sports weekday mornings from 4 to 7. Brady Quinn and LeVar Arrington join me, and hopefully you will too, right here on Sports 1440.
Winter weather is hard on your vehicle. Help keep it in top shape with Pennzoil Ultra Motor Oil from Jiffy Lube. Oil changes on your schedule and 25 bonus air miles with your Shell Go Plus app. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. United's annual Boxing Day sale is on now. Scratch and save 10 to 60% off store-wide. Time to spend that Christmas cash and buy yourself what you didn't get for Christmas. United Sport and Cycle, your favorite sports store for over 95 years.
Hey world, get ready to believe. At Oodle Noodle, we serve up world-class, worldwide flavors in our sweet, saucy, and fiery noodles. We believe in the power of nudes. We've got everything from saucy mac and cheese to sizzling pad thai to so many other unbelievable dishes sure to make you a noodle convert for life. You've got to taste them to believe it. Don't be a skeptic. The proof is in the noodles. Check us out at oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle. We believe in noodles.
Your old furnace can die in the blink of an eye, so why take that chance this winter? Eric Mikowski here, head of the family at Furnace Family. The time for a new furnace is now. Not only will you have peace of mind on those cold winter nights, you will save money on those super expensive gas bills. Unsure? Furnace Family can come check your furnace, and if you buy a new one from us, the check is free. Daikin has an industry-leading lifetime warranty on their heat exchangers. It could be the last furnace you ever buy. Visit furnacefamily.com. Jingle time.
Done right, day or night, furnacefamily.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.405, it is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today and get a code SPORTS50. Use that code. You'll get a $50 free bet. And remember, if you gamble, use your game sense. PlayAlberta.ca. I'm Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas alongside with me as we're getting you through the remainder of the work week here. We got another long weekend. It is New Year's, and we now welcome in Wanye Gretz of Oilers Nation. Wanye, how you doing?
Great. I feel like Dad isn't here, and we can do whatever we want, and we can eat whatever we want.
Yeah.
We can watch whatever we want on TV, and no one's in charge.
You brought in a bag of Doritos, and no one's going to question you.
I thought about it on the way in. I was like, I should bring something for everybody. And then I went to the gas station, which was the closest move. And I'm like, there's nothing here good enough. It says food store on the gas station wall, but there is no food. There was nothing I could bring in here that would have been like, this is what you bring your friends. It was a bag of chips and some windshield wiper fluid.
When you're on like a road trip, you go to the gas station. What is the go-to snack?
I generally only eat A&W if we're on a road trip. So the excitement for me of a road trip is immediately going to A&W for every meal throughout the entire road trip.
Brandon, you make a lot of trips from Delburn to Edmonton to Fort Sask, back to Edmonton. What is the road trip snack?
Well, to quickly pony off Wanye saying, what's nice about A&W is that no matter where you're going, you know you will find one. There's one at Knighton Junction, for goodness sake, in the middle of just nowhere on the side of Highway 16. So A&W, good choice. For my trips back and forth from the burn, I keep it pretty simple. I usually just grab a coffee as I fill up with petrol on my way back one way or the other. If I'm going on some like a bit of a longer one, I love a Slurpee in the summertime on the road. Keep myself cool. Can keep the AC down a little bit. Just naturally cool myself with the sugar ice. But Wanye's Doritos, that's a great choice. I love Doritos.
Yeah.
Sweet chili heat's the way to go. Those are probably my biggest ones. But yeah, coffee usually just the main one.
I mean, I'm a McDonald's guy myself. Iced coffee, vanilla, sugar-free. They've hooked us up a few times here at the 1440 Studios, Wanye. You remember that.
Delicious.
Free coffee. Amazing at McDonald's. And what kind of Doritos do you have today?
Sweet chili heat.
Sweet chili heat. Okay.
Yeah. But I will also throw a bag of peanut M&Ms in there because we live in the modern age. And you combine the sweet chili heat with the peanut M&M, you're living good.
I'm a big fan of sweet and salty, going back and forth. Even a little sour every once in a while.
Interesting.
You know, the candy cups are big. Wanye, the Edmonton, not to just say like it's the Sharks, it doesn't matter, but in a way they did what they were supposed to do. You build off it hopefully against the Kings tomorrow, but holy cow, what a start.
I couldn't believe people who weren't excited saying it's only the Sharks. I remember 8 short weeks ago when we were ready to cancel the season, and Tyler Yaremchuk, my colleague, tweeted it was the end of the Connor McDavid era in a panicked moment. Now, all of a sudden, we're too good to beat the Sharks 5-0. I don't see it that way. I saw it as a great victory.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I just think you do what you have to do, and to get the shutout, that's a big step. Stuart Skinner had a couple big saves, one on Ferraro, kind of from a great opportunity standpoint. He did his job. You know, McLeod, he doesn't take that shot 2 weeks ago, I don't think. I think that play results in him wrapping it around the net and then probably going the other way. Like, he's showing signs of confidence. When you get Holloway back at some point, it's going to be big. Big props, I guess, to that second line of Warren Foegele, Foegele, McLeod, and Leon Draisaitl for like the goal they scored. It's just kind of a nice little ripple that you have when you put those guys out after McDavid.
The question I'm starting to ask myself watching games, watching how many people lose their mind about Darnell Nurse's salary and compensation. What are they going to do when Bouchard is like either a Norris finalist or a Norris winner with 100 points in his contract year? What are we going to do?
Pay him a whole lot of money, or
with what salary cap?
Just hope the cap goes up like crazy.
Oh, it's going to cost his fantastic play, regardless of his defensive play. His offensive play is going to make him so expensive in this league. I don't know what the Oilers are going to do.
So it's going to be in 2 years. You'll still have Jack Campbell on the books potentially. Maybe there's the buyout that's an option. Does his contract negotiation almost make you have to trade that contract and give up assets to do so?
Can they afford Darnell Nurse and Evan Bouchard?
It's going to be tough. And there's a couple other guys that are going to need contracts in the next couple of years too.
Plus, we're going to have to re-sign Campbell. You know, he's not going to be
like the
cheap.
Koskinen deal.
Exactly.
Just a random day in January.
This is the other thing I wanted to ask about. Did you see who's playing in the KHL at the tender age of 51?
The Boulin Wall.
The Boulin Wall. After 10 years of retirement, he's returning to the league. What are the hamstrings of a 51-year-old Russian goaltender?
I've heard people critique Skinner post to post. I wonder what Habib Boulin looks like.
To play third string, I read.
Okay. Like maybe he's like a player coach.
But why?
Money.
70 grand US is what he's making, which is nothing.
I'd take that.
But we also didn't make Boulin Wall money.
That's true. I mean, maybe it's for the love of the game. Maybe he wants to get back out there.
I don't buy it.
That's interesting.
Has he been divorced thrice? Perhaps he's been dividing by 2.
So we could go look into that.
We could. We are
Russian mob debt.
No.
Most of those KHL teams have some pretty deep mob ties.
You either play or you pay.
You're done, bud.
And we're not talking money.
But you don't do both. Okay. We're here in the UL studios. Got to mention that where the worlds of electricity and sports collide. Stay plugged in as we power up your day with the latest sports updates. EWEL.ca. Wanye, I want to ask you this. We got this little ditty dropped on us from our research team, Brad Slater and Marty Stevens. It was the most hated teams based on fan bases.
Are you guys printing off memes hard copy? What am I looking at here? That's a meme.
Do you want a digi?
I'm well familiar. I've never seen them printed off in the real world.
You know what? We do things a little different here.
That's the 1440 way.
It's
I
a
get
little different lifestyle. So if you were to guess Oilers fans' top 3 most hated fans bases / teams, who would they be?
I found this list to be wildly inaccurate.
Okay, so you've seen it.
I've seen it.
So
as I recall, they mentioned the Flames, the Golden Knights,
yes,
and the Canucks,
Maple Leafs.
That's completely inaccurate.
Who would you have in your top 3? 1 through
Flames.
3. Yeah,
like I pray every morning that the city of Calgary disbands. Every morning, the Flames. I would probably put the Canucks in there, and then Carolina, because I'll never forgive them for 2006.
Okay, so we've had a few people that have brought up Carolina. For me, I don't even remember Game 7.
How can that be?
I forced it out of my mind.
How can that be?
Why would you remember one of the worst days of your life?
That's precisely why you do remember it, because it is the worst day. You've been able to Men in Black that out of your brain?
I don't know the score. I don't know what happened in that game. Like, I feel like once that game ended, like when the Oilers were out of it, I just walked home and forgot about it. Like I to this day, I could not tell you the score. Don't know who scored. Don't know anything about that game. But I was at Game 6, and it was amazing.
I cried so hard that my girlfriend broke up with me the night of the Game 7 loss. And I said, this is hopefully rock bottom for life.
What?
I don't know how much lower the ocean floor goes.
In your lowest point, your girlfriend broke up.
She said, I don't know, because I was bawling. I cried for the first time since grade 6 when the Oilers lost the Stanley Cup. And my girlfriend, now it's like 1 a.m. and I'm still crying. I've been crying for hours. I was completely dehydrated. And she said, I don't know how anyone could care this much about a team. And I believe I said something to the effect of, you could never understand, or something like that. And she said, we're done. And I said, ooh, this day just found a new way to get worse.
Between that story and some kid just flossing behind where you can't see it in the mall, that was one of the best moments here at Sports 1440.
I feel like a flamingo in a tank when
Yeah.
I'm in the studio. I feel people come and they try to put food through the windows at us. It's an odd moment.
Did you want to give her a shout out or no? Like, you moved on from that?
Do I want to give her a shout out?
Yeah.
Certainly not.
No.
This did not end well. This did not end well at all. I don't know that I ever necessarily saw the gal after that. It had been a while, Connor. There was emotional investment, but she took a back seat to the Oilers.
Yeah.
Because I too went to Game 6 and
Amazing.
felt assured of a Stanley Cup win. I'd sold my television to buy the tickets to go to Game 6. Single ticket, 1 television.
Oh.
I said, why would I want a TV? The only thing I want to see is Game 6. So you could say I was fairly upset.
How were the seats? For
Terrible.
You? Terrible? I was
Awful.
standing row.
You were standing row.
Standing row.
Even those were $500 a game.
Yeah, I was fortunate to know someone in the organization, said I got tickets, but they're standing row. My buddy and Brandon and I, let's go. We got there. Unbelievable. Couldn't see a thing whenever the Oilers scored, which was a lot.
It was the formative time too prior to Oilers Nation launching, because we were saying, like, man, we're having such a good time. The love of the Oilers exponentially grew, right? We were hockey fans prior to the Cup run, obviously. We've been hardcore since we were little, but
Yeah.
the amount of people who joined the bandwagon, we were like, how can we keep this feeling? How can we keep the feeling of White Ave going? What could we do? And this was, 2007, so prior to social media blowing up. So there wasn't a lot of conversation with other hockey fans online. We wanted to keep the vibe going because the 06 Cup run was such a good time. Most people our age, I would say, will tell you, for the most part, that was the best time of their lives.
Yeah, I was 18. We didn't go out to White. It was a little intimidating for us.
Of course.
But we would stay on the West End. My buddy had the projector TV in the basement, so we watched it there, then go to the backyard, have beers after, celebrate. It was like majority of it was good vibes. And Yeah. I mean, I would say as a sports fan, that was probably probably the best time of my life.
What an introduction at 18.
Yeah.
Is it like this every year?
It's going to be like this every year.
You bet it will,
We
son.
got Pronger. We got so many good pieces. Rolly, the goalie's going to come back and be ready to go.
48 hours later, I'm single. Crying my eyes out. No Stanley Cup ring.
We got a text here. I don't have a name on it. My girlfriend at the time said nothing could be finer than the cup in Carolina. I wanted to break up with her over that. Well, you said at the time, so it sounds like you eventually did move on.
I couldn't even imagine having somebody in my household or extended circle that speaks like that. There's no way. Get a pay. Did you know? Let's just bring this up, Connor, very briefly. When the Carolina Hurricanes defeated the Oilers, their cup parade was around the parking lot of their own arena, and they paid arena staff to attend their own cup parade.
Really?
Does that sound to you like somebody who deserved to beat the Oilers in the 7th game? I don't think so. I think we should look into the game and see if we could have it reversed.
We should launch an internal investigation.
I think somebody needs to look into it.
What was the final score?
I believe it was 3-1.
Okay, well.
I don't know how you can forget this. This is very... Are you a federal agent?
No. It was tough.
How are you able to have that level of mastery of your own mind?
I don't know. I remember weird things about that series. I was at game 6 against Detroit.
Yeah.
And they won.
Of course.
So I was a Red Wings fan. It was a great time. I went to game 3 or 4 against the Ducks that they won, and then didn't see any against San Jose, but game 6 against the Hurricanes. And yeah, couldn't tell you anything about that game.
That's unbelievable. It must be because you're 18. 18-year-olds can still forget things.
Yeah. I've moved on since then. I don't know if I can go through it again, though. So they got to win next time, or the Chargers have to win, whatever it might be.
I think you'd be hard-pressed to have a similar level of the Cinderella-ness of 06.
Yeah. I remember when they clinched, I think they beat the Ducks to clinch a playoff spot, or it ended up Vancouver or something. We were at Woolly Bullies.
You got to.
When it happened.
The best.
Woolly Bullies. Shout out.
And yet you're intimidated by White Ave during that. Well, there was a lot.
It was
by like the 3rd round, the 4th round. It was ill-advised for anyone to go down there.
And Woolly Bullies was kind of around the corner.
Yeah.
Just off it. So we felt safe there.
What was above Woolly Bullies?
Sweet 69.
One of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. My friend gets thrown out of Sweet 69. We're dancing on the dance floor as you did in the time. All the kids were dancing. And he climbed the tree outside Sweet 69. And we look out the window, and he was eye level with the dance floor, waving to us as this tiny sapling tree went back and forth. And we looked out the window, and the bouncers that had thrown him out were trying to talk him down out of the tree, but he was waving to us on the dance floor.
Legend.
06.
I saw a bottle whiz past someone's head there. Went right back down to Woolly Bullies. It was a safe spot.
2 bars in one building.
Yeah, and then like the washroom had a toilet and a urinal, no divider. That's Sweet 69.
That's not it.
That's weird. It was
That's not how you do it.
A little bit weird.
That's how we did it in 06, though. Everybody was mingling.
That was 06, baby.
Good times.
Let's take a break here. When we come back, we will talk to Craig Button. We'll talk a little NHL, the Oilers, the World Juniors, and a whole lot more. It is the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca on Sports 1440 and the Oilers Nation YouTube channel.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Holiday cheer, you say? Let's add some yummy holiday chill. Wrap a cozy mitten around a free regular size smoothie from Booster Juice when you purchase a $30 Booster Juice gift card in-store or on the Booster Rewards app. Our gift to you, to give to you, or someone else just as nice. The Booster Juice festive flavors have arrived, like the creamy new Oat Nog Smoothie and the return of holiday favorites, the gingerbread smoothie and candy cane booster balls. For more details, find a Booster Juice near you and download the Booster Rewards app.
It's time to get excited about driving again. Volvo Cars Edmonton makes it easy, and they'll make your first 2 bi-weekly lease payments on any Volvo model. Step into the intelligent design of the Volvo XC60 plug-in hybrid, and you'll save an additional $3,500. Volvo certified pre-owned vehicles start as low as 1.24%. Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
Action Electrical is expanding throughout Alberta. With the recent acquisition of Big Hill Electrical Services in Cochrane, Action Electrical is the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta. What does this mean for Action Electrical and Big Hill Electrical Services? It means that they are able to support their clientele all over Alberta with the same high level of professionalism and integrity. From conception to completion and beyond, throughout Alberta, contact
The professionals
at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
We've got your local sports covered all day. Fox Sports has you covered tonight, after 9, and all weekend long. Be sure to check out the incredible NFL coverage on Sunday. Often imitated, never duplicated. We're Sports 1440.
For years now, we've been warning Edmontonians on the hazards of our stormwater facilities. While they may appear to look like still ponds, there is moving water beneath the surface, which makes the ice dangerously The unpredictability of stormwater facilities makes them treacherously unsafe for all winter activities, even walking. So think twice. Don't go on the ice. A safety message from EPCOR.
There's 2 seasons in Alberta, winter and construction. During these days of traffic barricades and slower commutes, GS Construction reminds you those crews are improving our communities. They're rehabilitating and upgrading Edmonton's infrastructure all across the city. When you see the barricades and run into a traffic backup, remember, the crews are there to help. Drive slow and be patient. Help make our city better and join the GS Construction team. See what they're hiring for on Indeed.com. GS Construction, laying the groundwork for your community since 1974.
Get ready to make a game day decision with McDonald's Fan Day deals. Grab a $4 Big Mac, McChicken, or Filet-O-Fish sandwich exclusively through the McDonald's app. Wow, what a deal. Plus, tax valid on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays for a limited time at participating restaurants in Alberta and Northwest Territories.
Denim Ford's roots run deep in the history of Central Alberta. Like always, you can experience the same honest pricing and honest service that you've come to expect from all of us at Denim Ford for the past 65 years. Denim Ford is proud to be Canada's only 50-time President award-winning dealership in customer satisfaction, treating every customer like family. Visit Denim Ford on the world-famous Wetaskiwin Auto Mile or from home at denimford.ca.
Ours costs less than Wetaskiwin.
He's not just another pair of glasses. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for checking out Edmonton Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Four 25, we're back here on the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, coming to you live from the eWell Studios here in West Edmonton Mall. Connor Halley and Brandon Douglas in today. Gregor's going to join us at 5:20, and then he'll be back to host on Tuesday. Wanye Gretz in studio. We got a phone call, Wanye, during the break. Someone's a big fan. Maybe you can tell the story of how you got on this program.
Oh, well, I'd love to say
How did it come to be?
Yeah, it wasn't Gregor's bright idea to share the spotlight with anybody. I helped put the station deal and the nation deal together and was very supportive of everybody coming together and working together as a team. And that's in short supply in 2023. And then when Gregor got his way, I slid in the 11th hour and said, I insist you let me co-host one of the days. And he went, oh, buddy, you? No, you can't. No, maybe you can call in a couple times. I was like, no, Gregor. I want to be on a co-host, not a guest, co-host. And then I said I would take the Friday shift, which nobody wanted. And he also doesn't have to pay me ever. Those are the deals. And here I am. So I'm a volunteer and I'm the guy who's willing to come out here every Friday.
You get paid an experience.
I don't want to be paid. I think this is a wonderful opportunity.
It is. It is.
I think this is great fun.
Really is. I mean, I would still like to be paid for it.
Well, you guys, this is your job.
I kind of need to be, you know?
I'm here on behalf of Oilers Nation. They fortunately pay me, so it's all wonderful.
It all works out quite well. Yes, we're big fans of Oilers Nation. Pre-game with Bordsey tomorrow at 6:30 as they take on the Kings, and post-game coverage as well. Oilers Nation After Dark. I got a chance to host that for half a year. That was a good time. Oilers Nation fans are the best.
It's fun, everybody working together and merging together. I think that 1440, the amount of views you're getting on Oilers Nation social is insane. And I think it's helped bring the station roaring back to life.
Yeah, it's been a fun 4 months, and going to be awesome to see what we can do in 2024
You're
as
going to
we
keep
go
going?
forward.
You're going to do it all next year?
I hope so.
I wasn't sure if this was just a 2023 thing.
I mean, you tell me.
Well,
You are the mastermind.
We had someone phone in saying, who was on the radio? He's very funny. That is the most positive feedback I've received in my life.
So we're going to keep it going.
I love being here.
When we run the show, we can make these executive decisions. Gregor might change it all at 5:20 or so, but until then, Wanye in 2024. All right, now let's go in the room. Brought to you by Next Gen Transportation. Congrats to Devo on making the national bobsleigh team. Good luck at World Cup events and the Olympic qualifier. A great success story from nextgentransportation.com. We now bring in Craig Button from the NHL on TSN. Craig, good afternoon. Happy holidays. How are you doing?
I am really good. Hey, listen, one thing I got to say is Jason Gregor doesn't have a sense of humor, so of course he's not going to find things funny.
It's a lot of straight faces when Wanye makes the comment, just not a lot of a reaction.
Fortunately, I'm not playing to the room. I'm telling jokes for myself to laugh at.
Well, I mean, if you're with Jason Gregor, I mean, you will be telling them to yourself. I mean, you know, what's wrong with just having a good laugh?
It's the only way we got through the decade of darkness up here, Craig. It was a very long decade.
Yeah, well, it was probably 5 years. It felt like 10.
Oh, it was 10 years. It felt like 100 where I was from. I'll tell you, it really was a decade.
I mean, the drafts were a lot of fun, though. There was a lot of hope that carried us through it. Craig, let's start off with the World Juniors right now. Canada falling to Sweden today, 2-0. I guess first things first, going into this tournament, what were your expectations for Canada as a group? And was this a game you thought they should win?
Oh, Connor. Obviously, you didn't watch Buttonology on TSN Junior Preview Show. I mean, I told the whole nation what I thought about Canada. I thought that they would win the bronze medal. I didn't think they would finish first in their pool, and they're not going to. So here's what I think, all kidding aside, is that Canada, you know, is a good team. And the game against Sweden was a good game. And you lose in the manner that they did. You sit back and you go, okay, you know, breakaway by Rakoff, breakaway by Savoy where he lost the puck. And you say, only if. Sweden's really a good team. And this is game 3 of a tournament that requires you to get better as the tournament goes on. What I want to see now from Canada is, what have they learned? What do they take from this game to get them prepared for the quarterfinal? They're finishing in second spot. The benefit of winning this game versus Sweden would have been you get Switzerland or Norway in the quarterfinal game. And there's never an easy path, but there's a smoother path. Now Canada, but if you look at the outlook, they're going to have to play Czechia. Czechia is big, strong, hard. That's not an easy game. And I'm not saying any game's easy. So for Canada now, it's not so much about what my expectations were. Now the expectations are about what can you do with what you have done to this point in the tournament. And they're going to finish in second. They're going to play that crossover game against Czechia, but Czechia is finishing in third in the other pool. That's the quarterfinal matchup. So they didn't get a lot of traction against a Swedish team. And it's a good Swedish team. It's a good Swedish defense. When we think about Canadian hockey, we think about establishing a presence in the offensive zone, the forecheck, wearing down an opponent. They couldn't do that against Sweden. And when you start to look forward, and I think this is a big part of it. I was asked this question after the game. What does Canada have to do? I said, number one, they have to identify the problem. Number two, they have to find a solution and then sell it to the players. And they're going to have that opportunity to do it. But the quarterfinal now becomes a hard game for Canada. Not one that they can't win, because I really did feel that they would be in the medal round. They would be playing the semifinal game on January the 4th. Now it becomes a case of trying to learn from that. One of the things and that I would say leaving this game on December 29th, day 4, Canada's big players weren't quick enough and their quick players weren't big enough. And it caused them lots of problems against a really good Swedish team.
So you mentioned that establishing, what you can do and how do you get it done. Obviously, Canada now turns the attention to Germany. What is something that you think this Canadian team can build off of, despite the 2-0 loss?
One of the things when you come over, Connor, and you play on a big rink, you got to understand that the cycle game is not a cycle game up against the boards. And on the North American rink, you get comfortable playing along the boards. And then when you get off the cycle game, you can quickly get to the net. That's not the case in the international game, because the rink is so much wider and deeper in the corners. So to me, what Canada has to understand is don't get up against the boards, because the good teams just say, go and play over there. We don't care. They have to do a lot better job of getting themselves and getting the play directed inside the dots to the net. They did a really good job of defending, and they did a good job of defending with respect to not letting Sweden get, glorious chances in tight or inside the dots, but they didn't do a very good job of establishing a presence inside the dots. That to me has got to be the biggest focus. How do we work the game so that we can play inside the dots and force an opponent into some troublesome times? Think about the second Swedish goal. That's exactly what Sweden was able to do. Russo makes a really good save, but the loose puck ends up there, and it's 2-0. And and that's how it's going to be against Czechia. Czechia plays a hard game inside. They play a hard game. They got big defensemen. They got big. They got some forwards that they're comfortable pushing you outside. And if you're going to push inside, you got to push with some determination and some real urgency. That to me is what they have to apply and practice going forward. And it starts with Germany, because when the quarterfinal game begins against a big, strong Czechia team, that's what's going to be required.
All right, Czechia forcing a shootout against the United States, falling 4-3. Craig Button from the NHL and TSN joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, and Brandon Douglas sitting in for Gregor. When you look at the draft eligible players, Craig, has there been any players that have caught your eye early on in the tournament?
Well, I don't think there's any question. I mean, Macklin Celebrini is going to be the first overall pick. I see him clearly now. I thought at the beginning of the year, Connor, that him and Yzerman were 1A, 1B. For me, Macklin has separated himself. His complete game, his understanding of the game in so many different areas and important critical areas has allowed him to not nudge himself, but to push himself into that clear-cut number 1 overall pick. And so certainly he's impressive. He has been impressive. He will continue to be impressive. Konsta Helenius, a defenseman a center for Finland, really good prospect. I think he's a top 10 prospect, a slick centerman, really good skills, really good understanding of how to use those skills to create offense. Emil Hemming, another player with Finland. And here's the scary thing. They might be 2 of the most skilled offensive players for Finland, and they're only 2006 boards, which really tells you the lack of skill in the 04-05 groups of Finland. They've been Adam Jiricek got hurt. He's another top 10 defenseman playing for Czechia. He ended up hurting his knee in the first game. Those are the guys that have been really impressive. Michael Brandsig Nygaard, who plays for Norway, he's going to be a first-round pick for people in Edmonton and the Edmonton area. He's got a game that resembles Zach Hyman. And by that, what I mean is high energy, can play in so many different areas of the game, so many different situations, and he complements top-end players. So those are the players. It's no surprise that they've been impressive. Z Boom for The USA, a great skating defenseman. He's going to definitely be a first-round draft pick. But you come to this tournament, and you got to be careful about evaluating 17-year-old kids coming into the draft, because it is a 19-year-old tournament. But these players have shown not only their talents, but they've also shown the potential. And that's not easy to do at the World Junior Championship.
Craig Button from the NHL on TSN joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Craig, if we can, we'll turn our attention to the NHL, the Edmonton Oilers, winners of 3 straight games now. I just want to get your thoughts after beating a team like San Jose with what they've gone through and how they've been playing this year, the goaltending situation as well. It was a 5-0. It was a commanding victory, and Stuart Skinner gets the shutout. How do you look at that victory? Because some people think, you're not ever going to dismiss an NHL victory. Some people say, well, factor in that it is the San Jose Sharks. How do you look at it?
Okay, well, how do I look at it? What happened the last time the Edmonton Oilers went to San Jose?
Not a good result for the Oilers.
It was the end of the Jay Woodcroft era.
Yeah.
So that's what it culminated in. So if people want to dismiss going into San Jose, who have played hard, and after a terrible start, their first 10 games were awful. It's so awful that you're thinking, geez, this team might not win double-digit games this year. They found a way to be competitive. We know, and the San Jose Sharks know where they're at. I really believe, Connor, that when you're playing a team much, much lower than you in the standings, with much lesser talent than you, you got to get after them, and you got to really find a way to make sure that they have no belief that they can win the game. That's what the Oilers did in their 5-0 victory. Stuart Skinner has been we keep taking Stuart Skinner's numbers from the first 10 games and we spill them into a term. Stuart Skinner. Stuart Skinner's been really good, just like the Edmonton Oilers have been really good since that 2-7-1 start. And 5-12-1 start. They've been really, really good. And when you start to take the numbers from that point on, there's lots of positives for the Edmonton Oilers. Never make an apology for going and beating up on a team that's much lower and much less skilled than you in the standings. And then the league, go in there and assert your dominance. That's what the Oilers did. So it's 2 points. The Oilers are pushing to be in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to be a top 3 team in the Pacific, but I do believe they will be a wild card. If you want to really cement that or move closer to cementing that wild card spot, you better beat San Jose.
100%. And get that confidence going. You got the LA Kings tomorrow night. It's going to be a heck of a game down in Los Angeles. Just one last question for you, Craig. Just with the Edmonton Oilers, Chris Knobloch, about 6 weeks since taking over as the head coach. Has there been any changes that you've seen in their game that have kind of helped them turn it around? Or do you think this was inevitable, even if Jay Woodcroft had stuck around?
Is it fair to say both of those things could be true? Because I think that there wasn't inevitability to the Oilers turning their season around. And there was no way they were as bad a team and as bad a record as they had exhibited to that point in the season and the coaching change. But one of the things with Chris Knobloch, and sometimes the coach's message, it's not that it's not good, but sometimes it starts to fall on deaf ears. It starts to look like, oh yeah, are we really going to buy into this? And that's not a knock against players. That's not a knock against the coach. You're selling every day. You're trying to go in there to convince the players, here's what we got to do. But things in Edmonton were really, really they were stumbling. Everybody was stumbling. And every day, the manager is talking to the coach. Okay, here's our problems. What are the solutions? What do we got to do? And Jay Woodcroft worked hard at it. I know he did. That's what coaches do. They work hard to find solutions to the problems. But as time went on, you start to realize maybe this coach can't provide the solutions for the team. And so now you come to the point where you make a coaching change. Chris Knobloch is really level-headed. I think that what Chris has brought to the team is a real level-headed approach to playing. It's even, it's steady, it's balanced, and I think that has really served the Edmonton Oilers in a really significant way. Much like when Jay Woodcroft took over for Dave Tippett. And sometimes you reach the end of a coach's tenure and a new voice, a new coach is needed. Not that the old coach, there's times when coaches need to be changed and they just aren't very good anymore. Or they can't find a way to get the team to a level to play to their abilities. Sometimes it's just a case of, hey, listen, he tried everything he could. He's exasperated. We need a new voice in there. That happens, and I think that was the case with the Edmonton Oilers.
Craig, thank you very much for doing this today. We really appreciate it. Happy New Year, and we'll talk to you next Friday.
We will. When it's next year.
Next year. We'll talk to you next year. See you, Craig. There you go. That is Craig Button from the NHL on TSN. Always appreciate him hopping on here. Kind of called me out for my lack of watching his segments on TSN.
Buttonology?
Yeah. I'm not the biggest World Junior guy. I'll confess it.
Cable's expensive.
No, I have cable. I have the internet. But I don't work for a company anymore that really helped grow that tournament in TSN. I don't know. I'll enjoy it, but I don't get too deep into it anymore.
I think it's a nice annual thing to get excited about.
Yeah, but I mean, could you like break down the roster? No, me neither.
Get more excited about the Spengler Cup, Connor.
I could do that. There's some fun names there.
Thomas Milic is there.
Yeah, he was a stud of the World
Junior champion.
Who was the? There was a goalie that played for the Halifax Mooseheads, I believe.
Zach Fucali.
Yeah, like he was a World Junior. Now he's like a mainstay at the Spengler, isn't he?
He played for Canada the last Olympics.
Yeah.
I believe made the Olympic roster and has played on the Spengler Cup team at least a couple times. Yeah,
representing the country very well. A couple texts coming in here. HVAC Nick says, I was 13 at the time of our cup run. Try growing through your whole life and never being able to celebrate your teams winning anything or being an adult and watching a final. I was one when my Jays last won. I have a couple friends who would tell me, like, all I want to do is watch a Oilers playoff game as an adult in a bar. And they just missed out on the run in 2006, and then they had to wait a long time. They eventually got it, though. Trailer Park Ryan says, hey, guys. Oh, this is a heck of a message. I hope I can read it on air, Trailer Park Ryan. Hey, guys, I was in my prime of my 20s when the Stanley Cup run happened, and I'll never forget the many amazing nights on White Ave. I was right beside the girl who got lifted up in a shopping cart and then promptly hit in the face with fireworks and was dropped to the ground. I remember high-fiving cops while having a beer in my hand before the idiots ruined it. When the Oilers were down by 2 in both games to the Sharks in Anaheim, I convinced my whole office that the Oilers would come back and win both series. I did the same thing when they were down to Carolina, and I had the whole office believing. I will never forget being at Shanks and watching my heart ripped out that night. I was so sick the next day going into work, and it wasn't the alcohol. I couldn't even think about that game for several years, and all I want is revenge. Trailer Park Ryan.
Well said. Well said, Trailer Park Ryan.
There was a really good one. We talked about how it was David. We've got the name now. About how his girlfriend at the time said nothing could be finer than the Cup in Carolina. He said he dumped her a few months later.
Good.
Came to his senses.
Good.
Oh, we had a really good one too. I think it might have been Pillman. It wasn't Pillman, but it says it was unreal. I was at the triple overtime. We have Sean here, graduated university at the time of the 06 run. I was at the old Strat when the Oilers beat Detroit at 1 a.m. Had laser eye surgery scheduled months ahead of time, and the surgery date fell on Game 7 against the Canes. All my buddies were watching while I hid in the corner with my eyes covered and had to endure the pain of surgery and listening to that loss.
Hold on. So he didn't see the Cup loss because his eyes were in laser surgery recovery?
Yes.
That is an unbelievable mistake to have made. What's his name?
Sean.
Sean?
I
think you lost us the Cup. I think we just figured it out 17 years later whose fault it was. Why wouldn't you say to the LASIK eye people, I would sooner watch Game 7 with glasses on than have laser eye surgery and not see anything? I don't know. I think it's his fault.
I wanted to find someone had said they were crying, I think, behind O'Byrne's after the Game 7.
That's good.
I don't know where that text went.
I was at the Druid, to be fair, and cried very hard. And the bouncer let me throw myself out.
Oh,
because
really?
he said I'd had a hard night. And it was true.
Oh, man. Tough
cry
nights.
so hard you get thrown out of the Druid. That's a nice touch.
Well, you weren't alone. It sounds like there was a lot of Oilers fans that went through it that night. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit more when we come back here. We better get to break, though. We got to get to 5 questions. It is the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, and Brandon Douglas in with you here on Sports 1440 and the Oilers Nation YouTube channel.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Thinking about solar power? Action Electrical wants to eliminate your entire home or business power bill and keep more cash in your pocket. With effective paybacks in 5 to 9 years, give solar a chance with Action and put your lazy roof to work. Alberta is the second highest province for the amount of full sunlight hours, and with system life exceeding 25 years, solar power is like a McDavid draft pick. Still have questions about solar power? Contact the professionals at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
Building or renovating, you want to work with someone who sees and understands your vision. BIE Engineering is a family-owned, experienced structural engineering consulting firm serving commercial and residential clients in Edmonton and surrounding area. Homeowner or large company, they'll work with you to help see your ideas through. BIE Engineering can help prevent problems, deliver solutions, and minimize your risk. BIE Engineering. Request a quote for your project today. Visit bieeng.com.
Storm chasing sounds exciting. Most days, though, it's a lot of standing in the rain. But you know what's exciting and dry? PlayAlberta.ca. With hundreds of new live tables, online casino games, and instants.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code Casino50 and get a $50 welcome bonus. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Holiday cheer, you say? Let's add some yummy holiday chill. Wrap a cozy mitten around a free regular size smoothie from Booster Juice when you purchase a $30 Booster Juice gift card in-store or on the Booster Rewards app. Our gift to you, to give to you, or someone else just as nice. The Booster Juice festive flavors have arrived, like the creamy new Oat Nog Smoothie and the return of holiday favorites, the Gingerbread Smoothie and Candy Cane Booster Balls. For more details, find a Booster Juice near you and download the Booster Rewards app.
This is a commercial for Corporate Business Solutions.
Corporate Business Solutions, aka CBS. That's also known as CBS.
As I was saying, Corporate Business Solutions empowers any business to become more efficient and profitable with office machine technology that really works.
That's why they're the #1 Konica Minolta authorized dealer in all of Western Canada.
Well, why don't you just read the next line?
Sure. Corporate Business Solutions. Local service, local support, local always.
Visit cbsca.com.
He's not just another pair of glasses. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for checking out Edmonton Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
4:50, it is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and the Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook platforms. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, Brandon Douglas with you here. If you want to chime in, 1-833-401-1440 is the Jiffy Lube inbox. And if you want to book your oil change today, which I recommend doing, car maintenance is important, jiffylubeservice.ca. Right now, though, let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. Canada's best Boxing Day sale is back at The Brick. Save up to $1,000 on big screen TVs and up to 50% on mattresses at The Brick.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
Final edition of 5 questions for 2023 for you today, gentlemen, on a positive Friday. Pretty blunt. We've talked about it all show, Connor. Are the LA Kings a rival of the Oilers after meeting in the playoffs the past 2 years?
No. Win a series, then we'll be rivals.
It's a savage burn. Gonna back
Got
up
him.
my
Got
associate
him.
here and agree.
Yeah.
No, LA, you're not our rivals.
Win a game, and then we'll talk.
Ooh.
The Oilers are the Kings' rivals. The Kings are not the Oilers' rivals.
Well said.
At this point in time. Question number 2, Oilers with a pair of games down in SoCal this weekend. LA Kings Saturday night, then a New Year's Eve affair in Anaheim. A nice early start, though, to not interrupt your evening's festivities. 6 o'clock local time on Sunday. How many points do you think the Oilers leave Cali with this weekend?
I'm going to say they're going to get all 4 points.
I'm with you. I mean, after, I don't even know how long ago it was. All these days blend together. But I asked Gregor, how many points or what will the Oilers' record be in the 2023 calendar year? And I said 5-1. So they lost the first game of that one. I need them to win out for my prediction to be correct. So I think they'll find a way to get it done. They're going to be motivated to beat this Kings team, and then the Ducks, sorry, Brandon, walk in the park.
Well, here's the thing about the Ducks is that they're not good. And I agree with both of you. I told Kevin this, I think it was last week, or maybe even more than that, during a session of in or out. I said the Oilers would be above 500 come the first day of 2024. A couple of wins here would satisfy that prediction. Question number 3, wrapping up a little bit of Oilers talk here during 5 questions. With the Oilers down in Cali for the weekend, if you had the weekend off in California, what are you doing to keep yourself busy?
Saturday, I'm at Disneyland. Sunday, California Adventure. Hitting up the theme parks. That's what I'm doing.
Well, I'm an adult over the age of 21, so I guess I'll go look at all the bars and clubs and drop Connor off with all his friends at school on Monday morning.
Have you been to Disneyland?
I have.
Okay. I was going to say, that sounds like someone who's never been.
No, it is an amazing thing. But if I was to have the weekend off in California, it wouldn't be my first pick.
Did you guys ever hear Strutty's story about how he was supposed to go home and have or go to the hotel and have a nap because he was a healthy scratch, but he just went to Disneyland in like a full suit, just rode some rides and then went straight to the game?
Strutty.
Classic Strutty.
That is an all-time great story.
Pretty good, yeah.
Connor, I know you're a little bit sour on this topic given the state of your team, but you wouldn't want to go check out a football game on Sunday? I don't know if either, I'm not saying this weekend specifically.
They're in Denver, so hard to say.
Well, the Chargers are. The Rams at home?
I'm not a Rams fan.
It's the same stadium, Connor. You could at least go to SoFi and check it out. Get the lay of the land for when the Chargers are back on the up and up.
You wouldn't go to SoFi Stadium to watch the other team play?
No, I don't like the Rams.
Connor being exposed here. Not a football fan.
Not a
just
big
a
football
Chargers
guy.
fan.
Yeah.
Just a Chargers
Interesting.
fan.
Well, yeah, I am just a Chargers fan.
I would almost go to any major sporting event in the world given the opportunity just to take in the vibes.
Yeah, it'd be cool. But I would just maybe try to go back for a Chargers game.
I wonder what the tailgate scene is like outside SoFi.
Probably unreal.
You wouldn't be interested, Connor.
I'd show up right at game time.
Go enjoy California Adventure, you loser.
Yeah, I'm at Epcot Center.
Go to Universal instead.
It's a small world after all. While we're on the topic of football, though, it is the semifinals of the college football playoff on January 1st, kicking the new year off right. If you're checking that out instead of the umpteenth Winter Classic. I just want your guys' predictions. Michigan taking on Alabama and Texas versus the Washington Huskies. Who will be meeting the following Monday in the Natty?
I'll take Alabama, and I'll take Texas to meet.
I like that. See, I want Alabama to win because they got a lot of flack, and I'm an SEC guy. So I want the Crimson Tide to win, and I want Jim Harbaugh to be able to leave Michigan and join the Chargers. Then maybe I'll go watch him.
Do you think it'd be more likely Jim Harbaugh leaves Michigan with a national championship under his belt? Because there was a time he obviously went there with much fanfare. Didn't go so well for a couple years. People were thinking they might fire Jim Harbaugh. He's turned things around very well the past couple of seasons. They're back to being a national contender. But if they were to get the win, he can be like, all right, mission accomplished. I'm washing my hands of the Big Ten and everything they've sewered me with. I'm going to Los Angeles.
Maybe. I think he's got to go either way with all that's gone on with the punishments. And on the flip side, I got to go Longhorns. So we're in agreement. Lock it in.
Lock it in.
Go Huskies.
Unless Brandon disagrees.
Huskies Crimson Tide. That's who I'm picking to emerge victorious on Monday. And final one for you guys. Hypothetically, no, not going to hold you guys to this or anything, but if you were to create some New Year's resolutions for the calendar year 2024, what would they be?
I will say I would do what I did a couple of years ago and watch a new movie every week. I still might do that. That might be my resolution. I watched 52 new movies last year, 2 years ago, because I famously, well, not famously, but people know.
Infamously,
I I haven't seen a lot of movies. So I watched a new movie every week a couple years ago, and it was fantastic. So I might actually do that again.
That's an interesting exercise of Is that considered self-improvement?
He's becoming more cultured.
You know, I've been called an uncultured swine a lot less.
It's a foray into the arts, Wanye.
I know that this isn't part of the questions. It's another question. But what was your favorite of your 52? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, I wish I kept my rating system because I did a rate every one.
Oh, wow.
So first one I watched was Braveheart. That stood out. Ooh, the one with Gene Hackman when he's battling the KKK.
Oh. Disney's Cars, I believe you'll find, is the movie.
One of the movies, Animal House, didn't really hold up.
Those 80s comedies, though, they're from a different time.
Didn't you watch Shawshank for the first time during that?
No. I've seen Shawshank millions of times.
I swear.
Green Mile. Yeah,
you watched Green Mile. For the
that
first
was
time
good too.
During that.
Green Mile was great.
There's a lot of shows that I haven't seen either. On principle, I have not seen Game of Thrones. And I know
just finished a rewatch of it.
I know it's the greatest show of all time. And the fact that I haven't participated to me is a greater achievement than watching the greatest show of all time.
You're holding out just to say
you're like stupid that you're and stubborn for no reason. Hypothetically, if I were to have a New Year's resolution, what would it be? I've been so awesome for so long now that it's just like LeBron coming to the new season. Like, can you keep it up, Wanye? Can you do it for another 12 months? Of course I can. I'm gonna just keep riding the lightning for another 12. See how we do.
Mississippi Burning. That's the movie with Gene Hackman.
Lighthearted comedy by recollections.
Willem Dafoe, great film, great cinema. Okay, Brandon, what's yours?
I want to just say the same thing Wanye said, but I can't even pretend like that's true because I'm a absolute trash bag of a human being.
Sir, self-confidence isn't rooted in reality. It's rooted in vibes.
Maybe I will try and eat a little healthier. Actually, you know what? I'm going to get better at gambling.
That's better than eating healthy.
I'm going to lose less money gambling on sports every week.
Should I eat fruit? No, I'm going to learn to parlay better. That's the play.
Actually, that's pretty much the opposite. I should stop running parlays because straight bets, I think I'm probably like pretty close to even lifetime. I've had a couple nice wins, but it's when you start getting too creative and thinking that you're outthinking the system. Then all of a sudden you're like, why did I think this 13 game parlay would hit? Like obviously the chances are so slim. Just play some straights.
But if you make 13 leg parlays, you have 166 chances to win. The numbers become in your favor at some point.
Wanye doesn't like our printed out memes, so instead I'll just do a verbal meme of like the numbers floating across Alan from The Hangover's face. Like that's me cooking it up in the new year.
Just cooking in the lab, eh?
Stop prepping healthy meals and start researching more.
Yeah. Yeah, if I just eat ramen, that'll give me way more time to dig into the numbers.
Yeah, grocery shopping, you buy 1,000 ramen noodles, you're set. You don't have to waste time getting groceries anymore.
Now I can really dig in.
Easy game.
That's it. That's all it takes, actually. We can do that. Phil, he says, my resolution is to maintain my recently achieved tobacco-free status. Yes, I gave up cigarettes, but didn't quit smoking.
Was that in the text?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you just said that.
No.
I gave up cigarettes, but I didn't quit smoking with like multiple S's.
And then in brackets, rim shot.
Yeah. You don't need to put those in brackets. That is an excellent pause for laughter.
Oh, cool. Nice, Phil. Well, good. Keep that up. Keep up that tobacco-free lifestyle. Okay, we'll take a break here. When we come back, Mark Spector will join us here on the Jason Gregor Show. We've also got Gregor himself hopping on at 5:20. But first, let's get to an update brought to you by Booster Juice. Visit a location today to refuel, refresh, and re-energize, or download their new Booster Rewards app to earn, order, and enjoy.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Nine-game slate in the NHL tonight, including Columbus hosting Toronto. Jersey is in Ottawa to take on the Senators. Colorado plays St. Louis, and Philadelphia is in Seattle to play the Kraken. Edmonton Oil Kings, they resume their western road trip tonight in Vancouver, taking on the Giants. And the Alberta Junior Hockey League gets back underway with 5 games on tap, including the Sherwood Park Crusaders heading north to play Grand Prairie. Earlier today, World Juniors action from Gothenburg. Team Canada, they suffered their first loss of the tournament to host Sweden 2-0. USA beat Czechia 4-3 in a shootout. Finland blanked Latvia 4-0. And Slovakia doubled up Norway 8-4. 10 games in the association tonight, including the Toronto Raptors going to Boston. The Magic host the Knicks. Philly plays Houston. And the Clippers welcome Memphis into Crypto.com Arena. News out of the NFL. Jags quarterback Trevor Lawrence will not play this weekend against the Carolina Panthers as he deals with a shoulder injury. And U Sports, they resume some non-conference play to get ready for the second half of their seasons. The U of A Pandas volleyball hosting the New Year's Classic tournament at the Saddle Center. This weekend, they play Quebec tonight at 7. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Sportsnet's Mark Spector and the host of the Jason Gregor Show, Jason Gregor himself. I'm Brandon Douglas. That's your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates,
Call Legacy.
Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit FountainTire.com today. Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
After 5 o'clock, it is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook channels. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, and Brandon Douglas with you here. The show, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Remember, if you play, use your game sense. We're here in the eWell studio. We're about to get to the Spec Report. I'm going to start off with a very serious question for Spec. This segment always brought to you by GS Construction. They are always looking for good people. Go to Indeed.com and send them your resume if you want to work for a great company with a wonderful culture and good benefits. Indeed.com and look up GS Construction. Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet joining us now. Spec, how are you doing today?
Awesome. It's Friday afternoon, New Year's weekend coming up. Everything's good, man. How about you?
I cannot complain. Like you said, positive Friday here. We're through another work week, and it was nice in only 3 days. And we got the long weekend. Spec, I got to ask you, you're a veteran of the road trip here. So if you had a day off in Southern California in between, Ducks and Kings games, what would you do?
What would I do? Well, let's think this through. They're in LA, so they're staying down at somewhere near Staples Center or whatever we call it these days. LA Live area. What would I do? I don't know. Like, LA is not as much fun as you think because you got to drive a long ways to do everything. I would be looking, if I knew ahead I had a night off there, I'd be looking around for a concert. That's what I'd be doing.
Okay, that's a good
I'd
one.
say, who's playing at Hollywood Bowl, or is there a concert somewhere? I mean, yeah, you can go find tickets to a Lakers game. Maybe they're playing.
Okay.
But it's kind of an event town. Like, there's other towns where I'd say, if I'm in Chicago, I'm going to a blues bar. If I'm in New York, there's a restaurant and maybe some other place I want to see. LA, you're kind of looking for an event. That's what I'm doing is LA, looking for an event.
So I said I would go to Disneyland or California Adventure, and I was openly mocked. So you wouldn't be doing that then?
Well, maybe there's no day off when you're on the road with the team. You get the night off. You don't get the day, right? They got to practice today. So you got to go to practice and you got to pound out a column of some type or do some work. So you don't have the whole day to go to Disneyland, my friend. You got to actually work for the company that's paying for your trip. You get that part?
Well, I mean, no, I don't get that part. I'm in radio spec. I would just have the day off. I'd go to Disneyland and I'd make a podcast and BS about it. Say I was down there at the rink.
Yeah, that sounds great and unrealistic all at the same time.
Oh, that's why I'm not on the road, and that's why they'll never send me on the road. Spec, we saw the Edmonton Oilers last night out in San Jose get the job done, 5-0 victory. Now we take it into Los Angeles and they'll see what they can do against the Kings, a team that will certainly be a tougher task. What do you think they have to do carry over into this game to try and pick up the 2 points, a big 2 points in that Pacific Division?
Well, they're starting to roll out the same game every night, right? I mean, they won 8, then they lost 3. Okay, you get stale after you win 8, but they're really starting to play a solid game of hockey here. They're not bleeding chances the way they were at the start of the year. The goaltending is every bit good enough. Like, we're not talking after every morning game about how they had the second best goalie on the ice. They're the guys that are supposed to be producing, by and large. Like, Draisaitl's getting her going here. McLeod's showing up. That first line, when they get on the ice, they control the puck. So I guess my point would be, I'm pretty sure you get a good effort out of this team in LA and in Anaheim, and that effort beats the Anaheim Ducks 9 nights out of 10, and the LA Kings are really good. Do you win on Saturday? I mean, let's play the game and see. But what I don't see is a 6-1 game or a team that doesn't show up or, something untoward. This Oilers team, they found a groove here, man. And that tells me they'll be a tough opponent for the Kings on Saturday.
We've seen Ryan McLeod really take steps these last 3 games, 4 goals. Is it as simple as saying he's found some confidence, or is there more to it?
Well, I don't know. What do you think? Like, all these points are coming as a winger, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean? Is he a more confident player because they put winger next to his name instead of center? Like, really? They always say it doesn't really matter what position you're playing when you're in the offensive zone. It's in the defensive zone where, a center has different responsibilities than a winger. So if you're scoring more, who cares whether you're a winger or center? So all I know is I see a guy that's hanging on to the puck now and skating with it, a guy that's not just getting rid of it, a guy that looks like he wants more. So I know that he's more confident, Connor. I can't tell you why he's more confident, but there's no question that he is.
Stuart Skinner, coming off the shutout, had a couple big saves in crucial moments in that game. Have you noticed a change in his game, his attitude, the way he's played, or could it be just a product of stronger defensive systems?
Yeah, the team in front of him. Like, when the goals go in, it's not because he had absolutely no, there's not 3 or 4 a night that he's got no chance on. That's the difference here. Generally speaking, he's got a chance to stop most of the opportunities because they're not, wide open 2-on-1 cross ice tap-ins. They're not, a guy shooting at him uncontested from 6 feet away, right? The guys have less time shooting at him. Their angles aren't as good and they're not as wide open and they don't have as much time. So yeah, Stuart Skinner looks better and he's sort of, he's greeted that defensive system with a really strong game. I can't think of the last one that went in where I thought, That one wasn't very good. So, every goaltender is a product of the team in front of them. I don't care who's playing goal the way Edmonton played for their first 14, 15 games. Didn't matter. Now they got a team that's playing proper hockey. If the goaltending's not good enough now, then you better go get a new goalie. But all of a sudden, right, the goaltending might look like it's sort of good enough, doesn't it? There's nothing wrong with the goaltending at this point.
We're joined by Mark Spector here on the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, and the Edmonton Oilers heading to Los Angeles, taking on the Kings tomorrow night, and then the Anaheim Ducks on Sunday, back-to-back games down in Southern California. When you look at this LA Kings team, Spec, obviously it's going to be quite the jump, and they're playing some good hockey right now. And we've seen these two teams meet in the playoffs the last 2 years with the Oilers being victorious, so you're starting to get that rivalry brew. Are you expecting it to be a spirited affair tomorrow night down in LA?
Yeah, I don't. LA, they're really good. They're really good, and if we look, Saturday night will just be two good teams playing, and they'll always have a chip on their shoulder because Edmonton has kicked them out of the playoffs for 2 years, and I think the Oilers want to prove that we're 14 points behind you, but we're every bit as good as you are. So I think it's a perfect match. I would say that I don't know what's going to happen in the playoffs here. Like, where are the Oilers going to finish? Are they going to make the playoffs? Are they going to have to go through the Central? Right? There's every chance of that as a wild card team. But I would, if I'm the Oilers and I could pick a team that I don't want to play in the playoffs right now, at least the first round or two, to me, it's the LA Kings. Like, you vanquished them twice, and they were tight series that could have gone either way. I don't love your chances of beating that team for a third time in a row. What do you think?
No. I would have told you that last year too. I was obviously wrong, but I thought maybe you want the Vegas Golden Knights in that first round series instead of the Kings, because I think they've got a lot of potential. They've only added getting better, and they're getting good goaltending out of Cam Talbot as well. So I think that right now that LA Kings team, and I think they're third in the Pacific, but they've got games in hand they'll need to make up. It's going to be a tough one for the Oilers. And then they've got the Anaheim Ducks on Sunday. That'll be an interesting game, 2 games in 2 nights, but obviously travel shouldn't be the biggest factor. Spec, we earlier on in this show, and we got a lot of feedback out of this one. The Oilers Cup run back in 2006, Game 7. Do you remember the atmosphere, the vibes in that game when the Oilers lost? Because a lot of people here still remember it quite vividly, and the emotion, it's taken over. We're hearing a lot of people crying, and maybe if you were at that game, you witnessed that.
Well, the game was in Carolina, so there wasn't a lot of people crying, and at least around me. I guess, give me some context. People are talking about what it was like in Edmonton, what it was like in their living room when they were watching the game. What are they saying?
Well, I'll let Wanye tell his story.
Well, again, I just already broke my heart on the own Spec. I got dumped that night by my girlfriend, who said, "Why are you still crying? It's 1 a.m. That game was hours ago." And I was still crying, and she's like, "We're done." And I'm like, I hope this is rock bottom. I don't know how much worse things can get for me right now.
Wow, she dumped you. Hey, whatever became of her?
I don't know. I assume she went on to lead a rich and full life. She had excellent taste and could sense doom. But I don't know. Yeah, it's sad times.
I don't know. Your boyfriend's crying 5 hours. How old were you at that point, Juan?
25. 25 good years.
Yeah, I'd have dumped you too if I was her. So
it feels like it was yesterday, Spec. I'll tell you.
No question. My memories are sort of different because I was at the game in Carolina, and the sadness that I saw was in the Oilers dressing room. I had a chance, and it was, that was my job to go in there and talk to guys, and it was hard, man. I remember sitting with Ethan Morrow, and he was, they asked for a little more time. Like, it wasn't like they usually let you in right away and you get your quotes. And the guy said, "Hey, give us some time in here." And by the time I got in, I remember I was sitting with Ethan Morrow, and he had been crying for sure. And he was decimated. Like, he knew that this was in his career, and he had a good career, right? But this was probably the only chance, the last and best chance to win a Stanley Cup, and he hadn't won, and he was decimated. And the one quote that I remember, you guys, was from Sean Horkoff. And he said to me after the game, he said, "I left it all out there. Stanley Cup Game 7, it was an honor to play in it."
Wow.
And I thought, man, I've used that quote a few times since. I thought that is a strong quote right there.
Good memories. Good memories.
It's an honor. It's an honor to play in that game for those guys. That's cool.
That is. Well, Spec, thank you for that story. We appreciate it. There's been a few people. One came in on our Facebook chat here, and I believe it was from OJ saying they cried behind O'Byrne's after Game 7. went in, hid, cried in the back alley there. So
You know what's sad? I went for a beer downtown after the game. I found myself me and Bob Stauffer. He wasn't really working for the team yet, I don't think. I can't remember what he was doing, but I don't think he was. But anyway, we go downtown to Raleigh for a beer, and we go some joint. I don't know where we were. We sit down, we have a bite to eat, we're having a beer. You wouldn't have known that there was a hockey game played that night, let alone a Stanley Cup one. Like, no one was celebrating, no one was cheering, there wasn't any horn honking. It was like, whatever, won the Stanley Cup. So what are we doing now? And I thought, man.
Part of the crying, Spec, for me that night, I kept saying over and over, they don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. While like huge sobs were coming out of me. And I know that they had to pay their employees to go to their cup parade. I knew that. And and it just went around the arena. That was the cup parade. They just went around the arena parking lot. And I don't know if I knew that then and I was just crying or just sort of assuming, but they don't deserve it. So you're in Carolina. You can't even tell they won the Stanley Cup. They don't. We got to see if we can somehow change this game after the fact. It's been 17 years. Can we reverse it somehow?
Yeah, don't be Donald. Don't go all Donald Trump on this thing, right? The game's lost. You can't phony it up and change it into a win.
That's fair, Spec.
Sorry.
That's a fair statement.
Sorry.
That was it. Spec, thanks so much for doing this. Glad to have you on the station this year. Look forward to doing it many times in 2024. And a Happy New Year to you and the family.
And Happy New Year to you guys. Have a wicked time on what night's New Year? Sunday night?
Sunday night.
Sunday night. Have a great Sunday night and Advil-filled Monday morning. And all our listeners out there, let's get after it this weekend. Have a great time. Be responsible and all those things. And we'll all talk on what, Tuesday?
Tuesday we'll do that.
Okay, sounds good.
Take care, Spec.
There you go. Mark Spector for GS Construction. If you want to work for a great company with a wonderful culture and good benefits, Indeed.com. Look up GS Construction. That's probably the saddest part about that is that you go to Raleigh, go for a beer after the game, and it's just like a chill night in town. Edmonton would have maybe burned down.
The best kind of burned down.
In a good way.
With joy.
Yeah.
The next morning, we'd have been scooping the ashes with smiles on our faces.
Maybe the afternoon. People might have slept in after that night. City might have shut down in the morning. What a time. Do you remember that the Edmonton Sun had the Edmonton's Most Wanted? No?
What do you mean?
No, I feel like it was people that had been committing crimes during the parties and they had their pictures around the frame of the newspaper.
The day after we lost the cup?
No, at some point in the
during the
playoffs.
run.
Yeah. I'll see if I can find it. But
if that's true, that's awesome. If you were
is crime awesome?
If you were, yeah,
it can
Connor,
be.
It's you nerd.
Just 'cause I like
imagine
Disneyland?
you're running your circle of friends, your first or second year university or college student, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm most wanted in the Edmonton Sun." That gets you some pretty good credit the next kegger or whatever, and out at the bar with some ladies.
Oh my God, you're so cool.
You do crime.
Did you break a bus station? Oh,
very cool.
Here's my number.
That's how we talked in those days. The numbers are just flying.
That was a spitting image impersonation.
I
Of
know the girl
Wanye in 2006.
Go rev your engine for me. I like that too. You guys. We're gonna find that copy of the Sun, or maybe I just made it up. Hopefully, a texter can let us know. 1-833-401-1440. We'll take a break. When we come back, the host of this show, Jason Gregor, will join us. It is the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, brought to you by Play Alberta, also streaming on Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook.
Get ready to make a game day decision with McDonald's Fan Day deals. Grab a $4 Big Mac, McChicken, or Filet-O-Fish sandwich exclusively through the McDonald's app. Wow, what a deal. Plus, stacks valid on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays for a limited time at participating restaurants in Alberta and Northwest Territories.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
You know,
I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair.
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sportsbook, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Brad McCory here. 'Tis the season for something special at St. Albert Dodge. 165 Ram 1500s all dressed up and waiting for you with an incredible 20% off MSRP. That's savings of up to $14,000. Buy now and unwrap up to $10,000 in Christmas debt relief. Here's a festive touch, our $5,000 monthly giveaway. Buy a vehicle or refer a friend for a chance to win. Your odds, 1 in 200. Plus, join in the holiday cheer and help St. Albert Dodge fill our Ram 1500 with toys for the Salvation Army.
The Ben Maller Show continues every single night of the week at midnight here on Sports 1440. I've been told I have the best sports talk show, but that means as good as all the rest. You be the judge. Check it out. Midnight to 4 on Sports 1440.
One call does it all. Action Electrical is proud to celebrate 50 years of providing complete electrical services and a full circle of care, including projects, service, tag, and energy. From humble beginnings in a small Sherwood Park basement to a family-run business, the Action Electrical stamp can be found on some of the most iconic schools, office buildings, and warehouses across Canada. From conception to completion and beyond, contact
The Professionals
at actionelectrical.net today.
It's time to get excited about driving again. Volvo Cars Edmonton makes it easy, and they'll make your first 2 bi-weekly lease payments on any Volvo model. Step into the intelligent design of the Volvo XC60 plug-in hybrid, and you'll save an additional $3,500. Volvo certified pre-owned vehicles start as low as 1.24%. Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Are you one of the many living on borrowed time with your old furnace, praying that you can make it through another winter? You've been blessed so far, but stop gambling with your family's comfort and safety and get a new Daikin furnace with the best warranty in the business. Right now, we're offering free furnace upgrades, which means getting a better model of furnace that provides you greater comfort at a lower price. With multiple financing options also available, there's never a better time to get a new Daikin furnace from Weiss Johnson. Visit wjheats.com today.
Got all our liners in. If I think liners, yes. The only thing is, we'll have to do Action Electrical for Wanye's World, and then if we want to run the ski report.
Oh shoot!
Yeah, we got to do that. Do you want to run it right now before I call Gregor?
Yeah, let's do that. Good thinking, dude. I totally forgot. Got 2 to the Oilers.
Portions of this hour brought to you by FCOR. Don't use stormwater facilities for recreation. This includes skating, walking, or sledding. Edmonton has great facilities that are safe for you to use. Learn more at fcor.com.
He's not just another pair of glasses. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for checking out Edmonton Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, Wanye Gretz with you here. And on the Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook channels, we are coming to you live from the eWell Studios, ewel.ca, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca as well. If you're going to gamble, make sure you use your game sense. So we are going to get to Jason Gregor in just a second here. But first, we're going to get to another edition of the Ski Report.
This is the Sports 1440 Ski Report.
Your ski report for Friday, December 29th, brought to you by Snow Valley Ski Club. Start your skiing journey at snowvalley.ca. New Year's Eve just a few days away, and skiers and snowboarders can only hope we get a little more of the white stuff come 2024. But New Year's Eve at a ski resort can be about more than just the conditions, as fireworks, parties, and of course the Torchlight Parade down the hill takes center stage. While many resorts do a Torchlight Parade at New Year's, the biggest of them all, in Alberta at least, is at Mount Norquay in Banff. Due to its close proximity to the town site, the best place to see the parade is downtown Banff, making it the most watched torchlit ski in the province. Norquay currently has all lifts open and 46 runs in operation. Louise and Sunshine, Banff's other two resorts, also with all lifts operating and a majority of runs open. Marmot Basin, all lifts operating with the exception of the new Knob Quad Chair, which was expected to be open in December, but looking like 2024 will be its debut. The Eagle East area in Marmot also still closed. Nakiska, 51 runs open, and down in Castle Mountain, the entire mountain open, but very marginal conditions, particularly in the high alpine. Throughout BC, all major resorts now open as Red Mountain and Rossland finally got their gates open for the season yesterday. Marginal early season conditions are unfortunately the norm in most Western Canadian resorts. So if you got some new equipment for Christmas, you might want to leave it at home for the time being. Around Edmonton, hills are open and operating on holiday hours, which might differ from their regular times. So check out each individual place's website before heading out for your last ski of 2023 or your first of 2024. That is your Snow Valley Ski Report.
Done, Brandon. One take. That's all it took for you to drop that little ski report on us.
Every time.
Every time.
They call me the one take wonder.
Onezo. They call you a lot of things.
Onezo. One guy. Buddy guy, one done.
Just, yeah, lots of names. We are trying to track down Jason Gregor. If not, that's okay. We'll find a way to power on. He deserves a day off anyways. So if we don't get a hold of him, we'll make it work. Text coming in here to the Jiffy Lube inbox, 1-833-401-1440.
One time, a long time ago, Gregor and I were out in the town having fun. And in the morning, he was staying on the couch at Wanye Manor, and there were people throughout the house, and everybody was waking up. And I go to the fridge to get an orange juice, and I just hear, "Oh, buddy!" And he sits up in the couch, and he'd slept through his entire television. He had a morning show, I think, at the time he was doing on Global or somewhere, and he sat up straight. And the first words out of his mouth were traditional Jason Gregor, "Yeah, buddy," basically, and he'd missed his own show.
Oh no!
This is the second time I've seen Gregor miss his own show
on the phone. Like, was he like on the phone? Like,
no, he was supposed to be like in a studio.
Did someone called him and he's like, oh,
no, he just woke up. The internal chronometer kicked in.
That's never a good feeling. Unfortunately, it does happen. It's happened to our morning show a few times with guests where people have slept through their segment,
including Jason Gregor a couple Fridays ago. It was after the 8 o'clock our time start, and he was obviously down post game getting audio and whatever. So we gave him a pass on that one, but Spec last week, because he's on with us at 8 o'clock. He was out at the lake, and he's like, "I never set an alarm. I never sleep in this late." And then I woke up at 8:10. Was like, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something right now. So he got on it with us at 8:40. So no harm, no foul. Our own Declan Kruger slept through a 7:20 hit with us one time to talk some college football. AJ Jakubek down. I'm just outing everyone here, but the good news is we don't hold it against anybody except Declan. I think Kevin still holds that one against Declan Kruger.
I mean, it's a big deal to go on the morning show.
Connor was on this morning, and guess who didn't sleep through it?
I set my alarms for 6:50 to make sure I was up and ready to go. Like, get a coffee beforehand.
It's too darn early. I'm a big believer that time isn't real. It was invented by Wall Street to sell wristwatches. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the radio, it stresses me out because I know I have to be here at 4, and I know I can't show up at 4:05, and I know I can't show up at 4:10, and I know 4 o'clock is 4 o'clock on the radio, and you can't play around. So I get it.
Have you ever worked an early morning?
Of course.
Job?
I'm
like
actually
9 to 5?
believe it or not, I'm actually a morning person.
Okay.
So I'm doing lots of work from like 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. most days. That's like my power hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a morning person. I was nervous I was going to sleep in all day or all night. Like, I kept waking up.
Are you one of those guys who sets 5 alarms in the morning and stuff like that?
No, because I don't get that. I that's not me, but I will sleep terribly the entire night leading up to being up early in the morning.
I only have one real rule to govern my life, and that is don't let an early morning flight ruin a great night. So if you're somewhere and you're doing something and you got to leave, and if you're working on the road and stuff like that, there's a lot of people who'll be like, no, I got to get up early in the morning. I can't. And the rule is you can't let an early flight ruin a great night.
Trying to think, going like the strategy. I try to get like a mid-afternoon flight so I can stay in the hotel till 11 and then just go straight to the airport.
So you haven't had a job that forces you to go anywhere?
No, I haven't. Well, so I mean, Spec already kind of called me out on that one.
It's a different when you know you have to be going. Like those guys, we went 2 years ago. We went to all the games in Anaheim. Oh, not 2017, sorry. 2 years ago, 6 years ago. And I remember thinking to myself, like, this is so fun. We're having a great time. We kept going back and forth and back and forth. And by the second round, you're actually tired. And we're not playing the games. We're not. So like Gene Principe, guys like that are on the road with the team for like games and seasons on end. I have a lot of respect for what they do.
Oh yeah, for sure. And look, I mean, a lot of the guys who do that aren't flying with the team. They might be now, but I remember like Corey Graham when the Oilers went back to the playoffs so long ago, first round series against the Sharks. I mean, they're booking their own flights. They're flying commercial with the rest of us, and yeah, I get it. I'd be like, can't you put me in the luggage department in like a cage they'd take a German Shepherd on the road with? Why do I have to have my own plane? Put me down below. You don't travel first class?
Well, when I'm with the Oilers in my theoretical journalism here, yeah, I'd be insisting on first class.
I've never flown first class. I've always wanted to, though.
They mustn't let Speck fly first class, do they? He's probably got some sort of weird point system where he's got 12 trillion points.
Yeah.
And he's upgrading all the live long day. That's the life of Speck, I bet you.
I wonder if he books his own flights.
You're telling me Corey Graham had to fly his own plane? I had no idea.
Well, he didn't. Did I say that?
Well, you inferred that he had to get there.
He went commercial, but I do believe he did book his own flights because I'd walk into like where we'd prep and he's trying to find out flight times and when to make it all work. He was reimbursed, I believe. But
I've flown first class once from LA to San Diego on Virgin Airlines. And I was at the airport and the lady said, "Would you like to upgrade to first class for free?" And I said, "No." And she was like, "What do you mean no?" And I was like, "I do not want to," because I thought there was a scam somewhere in it. And I'm like, nothing's free. And it's like late at night and I'm in LA and I'm going to San Diego. She's like, "Sir, I will literally upgrade you for free into first class." And I was like, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know. You want you to have my credit card number. So that was my brush with first class, Connor.
Not
it was
today,
not,
lady.
No. And then I did go in it. And it was like 45 minutes of bliss.
Wanye thought that the lady at the desk in the LAX airport was a telemarketer, basically.
When I travel, if I get into paranoid mode, because at home, everything's under control. I know the people at the store. I know the people here, there, everywhere. When I'm on the road, though, if I get spooked, my wallet goes in my front pocket. I'll swallow my passport so no one can steal it. And I will not accept a free upgrade for a 45-minute flight to San Diego. Thank you.
That's a quick flight.
Just a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah. I mean, in that traffic, it makes sense to fly.
They weren't selling first class that day. They were giving them away at the airport.
What's the name of that highway? The 405? Or is that somewhere else? I feel like I've heard that before. The highway, traffic on the 405 is brutal.
You're thinking
today.
of the Californians skit of SNL.
Is that the bit?
That's not actual weather or traffic report, rather. That's just jokes.
Oh.
I'm sure it's a real freeway.
Well, it looks like it's in Los Angeles.
The 405?
So you might be correct.
Whoa. Am I wicked smart?
Yeah.
It is the interstate. A north-south auxiliary.
There we go. Does it go to San Diego, though? Or just from, through LA?
Well, it has a Wikipedia page. Looks like it goes down to, Mission Viejo. I don't know. Looks like it.
With no Gregor, can I just add the other thing that's funny about Gregor is that on this sheet of what's happening today on the radio, I don't know what we call this sheet, but you have all the guests here listed, and you have at 5:20 Jason Gregor of Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff. Well, first of all, isn't he of the Jason Gregor Show?
That's how we introduce him when he comes on the Kevin Carey Show.
As Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff?
No, of the Jason Gregor Show.
Secondly, isn't it strange? Aren't you opening a paradox by introducing himself to his own audience as himself?
It's confusing.
It is confusing.
I always like to say, Jason Gregor from the appropriately titled Jason Gregor Show. But Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff, I don't know.
He does work for them, too.
How do you think he came up with the name Jason Gregor Show?
A lot of brainstorming. Probably a full, one of those, teams you hire in a boardroom.
Focus group.
Focus group.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Nothing happens by mistake.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't it just a game?
Originally.
And then evolved to the Jason Gregor Show?
That's the company name, is Just a Game, which I think is also intentional because those are the same initials. JGP, Just a Game Productions, and the Jason Gregor Show. I don't think that was by accident.
JG, Just a Game?
Yeah, I think that was intentional.
I mean, there became a trend in sports radio to just go with the host's name.
Would you do it that way?
I always thought I wanted to do a show or a podcast called Pros and Cons, So maybe that's what I'd go with.
So you're this close, but you haven't launched a podcast?
No.
I see.
You'd need a couple, you could do it with Schlemmer and Laddie, or Eddie or Lorian, like any of our Sean Brown, any of our multiple former pro athletes that we have on the station, a couple of them and you could call it pros and a con.
But I don't want to do sports. I want to talk to professionals in weird jobs and like go deeper into it. Defense lawyers, brain surgeons.
Why?
Well, I don't want to
Do
be
you know a lot of these people?
I know a brain surgeon. I don't know a defense lawyer, but I bet I could get one on pros and cons.
What's the one with the big billboard? James H. Brown.
Okay, you want to hear something about James H. Brown?
They're great.
I thought, are they a sponsor? You're making a face. It's not a bad statement.
Okay.
But I always read it as Jamesh Round. Jamesh B. Round. I didn't realize it was James H. Brown. I thought it was Jamesh. And I'd only read it written down, and then somebody said it in an Oilers telecast, James H. Brown.
Like you'd only see it as the website, jameshbrown.com,
like
and you just
Jamesh
jameshbrown.com.
Yeah, Jamesh Brown. And it was like a magic eye. Like my eyes realigned, and I could suddenly see the words for what they were.
Galaxy brain moment for
Jamesh
Wanye.
Brown. Smooth brain moment for Wanye.
Well, now I got to look up their logo and see how this is.
It used to be the back of the phone book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamesh Brown. And there's like 900 lawyers in the firm. So I figured one of them was Jamesh.
That would make sense.
They had us at during the summer at their suite at the Elks game. Amazing people.
So that's why you had that nervous face. You thought I was going to put your Elks suite at risk by saying something about the firm.
Wanye just tanks Connor's chance of ever going to the
Every
suite.
time I've beat a murder charge, Jamesh Brown wasn't involved.
I'm going to get back into that suite. They're great people.
Great people.
Great. James H. Brown is amazing. Jamesh Brown is one might call them.
Now you'll see it.
Now, yeah. And I mean, it's funny because if anybody saw on YouTube, they'd see my face like, don't say anything bad, please. No slander.
No slander. Can't slander a lawyer. They'll get you.
Yeah. I told the story. I was once, when I was working at the grocery store, I was accused of slander. Yeah.
At a grocery store?
Well, there was a Facebook group page incident. And
Well, if it's written, it's liable.
Yeah. But how do they know it was me? My account was hacked, I could have said.
That's true.
But yeah, they came at me with slander. So I think you always got to be careful.
Don't worry about it. You know how many cease and desist the NHL have sent your old boy Wanye? I paper the walls at Wanye Manor with these things.
Oh, man.
Doesn't bother me.
I do know actually about that.
Lots. There isn't a that. There's a them. And
Them?
the them are many.
We should get into that on pros and cons when I drop my podcast.
I'm in.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll get to Wanye's World. It is the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by Play Alberta, coming to you live on Sports 1440, as well as Oilers Nation's YouTube and Facebook channel.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace,
Call Legacy.
or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks.
Call Legacy.
And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties including the Alberta Junior Hockey League, Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, and the Hockey Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. A new state-of-the-art entertainment center is set to open in Nisku, which will feature 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and restaurant with a viewing area.
With the rising costs of food, more Edmontonians than ever are struggling to provide a holiday meal for their families. When you donate to the Holiday Hamper Foundation, you help provide festive meals and gifts for 1,500 Edmonton families in need. Your contribution will purchase turkeys or fish for every family, the centerpiece of their holiday meal, and you'll receive a tax receipt for your generous donation. Please support the Holiday Hamper Foundation. Donate today at holidayhamper.ca.
Holiday cheer, you say? Let's add some yummy holiday chill. Wrap a cozy mitten around a free regular size smoothie from Booster Juice when you purchase a $30 Booster Juice gift card in-store or on the Booster Rewards app. Our gift to you, to give to you, or someone else just as nice. The Booster Juice festive flavors have arrived, like the creamy new oat nog smoothie and the return of holiday favorites, the gingerbread smoothie and candy cane booster balls. For more details, find a Booster Juice near you and download the Booster Rewards app.
When you call CBS, you'll speak with a real live person located right here in Edmonton. No 1-800 number, no call centers, no waiting on hold forever. Just trained, experienced, and local service technicians. CBS is Western Canada's largest Konica Minolta factory authorized dealer of multifunction office equipment, printers, software solutions, and mailing machines. Corporate business solutions, local service, local support, local always. Call 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
When basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal joined the team at Papa John's, he brought some big ideas, but his biggest idea is the Shaq-a-Roni pizza. It's a massive pizza designed to feed big appetites and make a big impact. It comes with 8 foldable Shaq-sized slices, loaded with extra cheese and extra pepperonis. But what makes it really big is that for every Shaq-a-Roni sold through December 31st, 2023, Papa John's donates $1 to Second Harvest to provide 3 healthy meals to people and agencies in need. The Shaq-a-Roni is bigger than pizza. Get yours today for only $21.99, only at Papa John's.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Last Christmas, our granddaughters came to visit us from Australia. It was great to see those silly faces again. They're back in Oz now, but every Christmas we put a special light on the top of the No Bull building, one for Saxon and one for Golden.
We look in the northern sky every Christmas, Papa.
You have to look really hard to see it from down there, but if you try hard enough, you can do it. Right, Saxon?
Can't wait to come back and see you and Grandma again.
We can't wait either. The RV lifestyle is about exploring the great outdoors and spending time with family. And that's why we added a third light, just for you. And a couple more for those who are special to you. There's real magic up there if you believe hard enough. So have a brilliant Christmas and a fulfilling new year. From our family to yours.
My name is Saxon and I approve this message.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
The final segment here on the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Have some fun tonight. Bowl season continues. You got NHL, you got the NFL weekend. Just remember to use your game sense. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz of Oilers Nation, and Brandon Douglas here in the studio today as we wrap up the show. About 10 minutes left before we're done for the 2023 year. So why don't we just wrap it up with something nice and positive? Wanye's World, brought to you by Action Electrical, celebrating 50 years in business, wishing all their staff and clients a healthy and prosperous 2024. Thanks for your support from actionelectrical.net.
How many minutes are left in the 2023 broadcasting season?
8, 9.
Let's give away Oodle Noodle.
Yes.
Yes. If you have some positivity to end this positive Friday on a positive 2023 with the kids in charge of the show, because Uncle Gregor is out doing heavens knows what, text us 1-833-401-1440 and let us know what the positive things that happened to you this year were. And we're going to give away 8 2 4-box meals to Oodle Noodle.
8 2 4?
8 total, 2 4s.
All right. I have actually just got into Oodle Noodle. Kind of embarrassed to admit that. And I love it now. I'm like telling Ashley.
Because you had one? So we tricked you?
We got to go back. I forget what I get. Chicken, beef, no shrimp.
Wow.
One of the little boxes.
It's a combo box.
And I say little, and it's lunch the next day. So it's kind of awesome. They squeeze a whole lot in there.
Yes, it's delicious. So hit us up. Tell us what good things have happened to you in 2023, and we will pick 2 very positive people to have 4 boxes sent to them.
Text it in. Best thing to happen to you in 2023 for free Oodle Noodle. 1-833-401-1440, the Jiffy Lube inbox. Well, Wanye, what was the best thing that happened to you this year?
Best thing that happened to me this year, honest to heavens, Wanye Jr. is 3 years old. And this gentleman is, first of all, hilarious. And secondly, ever evolving and hanging out with a 3-year-old all year long. For a guy who used to watch people wave in the Woolly Bullies tree out front the window, I have to say, was the highlight of my year. He's a good man. I look forward to 2024 with him. He's my top pick.
Brandon, best thing that happened to you in 2023?
Well, this seems like almost a unnecessary question. This job, this station, getting the chance to hop on the airwaves, talk sports for a living now, right? Obviously, with the producing the Kevin Carey Show, you and I, Connor, talking fantasy sports for an hour. That is my job, to talk about fantasy sports, and then even the opportunities like this to sit in on a esteemed program like the Jason Gregor Show a couple times as spot duty and fill in. It's a real treat. It's an honor. It's a pleasure, and this is without a doubt the best thing that's happened to me this year.
Okay, I like it. Dean in Clairview says, I'm positive that my 2 beautiful daughters have grown into amazing ladies. Dean, that's a good thing that happens to you. I got married, so I have to say that. Legally, yes.
Yeah.
Marrying my wife, Ashley, was without a doubt the best thing that happened to me in 2023. And then, in a distant second, probably getting here. It was a pretty dark day. June, I want to say 15th, whenever it was, finding out that I lost my job, laying in bed because my phone was blowing up on Twitter. I had randoms DMing me saying, sorry about the news. First thought is someone died. No, why would a random know that? But, got the call eventually that we were shutting down the dial. But hearing Gregor, call me, give me the updates like, hey, we got something cooking. It's going to be a group effort with Stingray and, Just a Game and the Nation Network. So thank you, Wanye, for getting this going. And Gregor and Stingray. It has been probably one, outside of the marriage, this whole thing happening has been pretty cool.
We need sports radio. And Gregor not being here, we can actually say something nice about him to close the year out. But how many sports stations have shut down? How many have rebirthed? Right?
Yeah.
Jason Gregor's a good businessman. He's a great radio host, but he's also a very good businessman. And I commend him for not only being able to get his own show back on the air, but to get all these shows back on the air. He actually got bigger when the radio station shut, and that's unbelievable.
It almost, I feel like, gave people kind of something they were so used to having, and then it was ripped away from them. And we had so many positive comments, not only when we came back, but when it all happened, like Twitter and everywhere. My phone was just blowing up from people, reaching out. I'd go to these Elks watch parties and talk to the people there. Like, I lost a friend that day. It's weird to say that. You don't even really think about it, right? But people really, really care about sports radio in this town. Their teams are loved, and they wanna hear about it all the time. So
I remember we went to I think it was the Kevin Carey's golf tournament, actually, Gregor and I, and Matthias Ekholm was 2 groups in front of us. And everywhere we went, all I could do was watch Ekholm because he'd just come to Edmonton. It was very exciting. But the amount of people that came up to Gregor that day and were like, sorry, Gregor is many things, and he does not want people's sympathy. And I swear, just to get people off his back, he was like, I'm going to start my own station. I was like, that's cool. Can I play too? I like the radio.
It worked out.
Worked out great.
And we're on the YouTube now.
The best.
It's great.
It's all work, and everyone's working together, and everyone's happy, and the listeners are happy. I think it just worked out fantastically.
Oh, this one from Phil. I love it. I wish I knew. I'm going to butcher this word, but he says, I made the list, the transplant list. I stage 4 renal failure, and I've been in dialysis for 18 months. So Phil, that's fantastic.
Dude, you get the oodle noodle.
Yeah.
That's enormous. Well done.
Congratulations.
Man,
that's good.
Good vibes into 2024.
One of those things that puts it in perspective.
Very perspective.
Life could be a lot worse.
Good luck to you, sir.
We've got a couple of people texting in. You guys coming back? Best part of 2023?
Us specifically or Gregor?
I think just sports radio on the AM dial as a whole.
Cool.
I like that strategy.
Wow.
Butter us up a little bit, try to get it in there.
Darn right.
What's your go-to at Oodle Noodle?
At Oodle Noodle? Tough one. I've been working for the company since 2009. And one of the things I was concerned about was that I would be eating everything on the menu in perpetuity. So I've actually tried only 4 or 5 different things. And this is so I can continue to work for the company for the next 100 years and not be sick of stuff. My favorite thing is the butter chicken on the menu, and I like to use a spring roll as a spoon.
Not bad. Do you have a favorite? Beto?
Yeah, the hot noodle box. And then sometimes they have the extra hot noodle box. It's like a special menu item that comes in a rotation. And when I was living in Fort for the past year and a half, obviously the Oodle Noodle location there, I didn't go like super often, but once every couple of weeks, I love to keep it in the mix. And the guys there, they like knew me. They knew every time when I came in what I was ordering.
In the Fort,
Saskatchewan.
You got a location out there.
The city just northeast of
I
Edmonton.
am embarrassed to say, as a partner of Oodle Noodle, I forgot we had a store in Fort Saskatchewan.
It's a great one, I'll tell you that. So make sure you keep them rolling. Yeah,
Shout out to Fort Saskatchewan and the Fort Saskatchewan Oodle Noodle specifically.
As always, the roll of Oilers Nation stickers sitting right there at the till to sling out to anybody that so wanted one. The hot noodle box though, so good. Chicken is the protein that I like with that one.
Now, what is the butter chicken mac and cheese?
Oh, delish. Did someone bring that up?
Well, I did. Because every time I go there, that's what I look at. I'm like, I get the combo.
It tempts you.
It tempts me every time.
It's so good.
You wouldn't believe this, but we have Oodle Noodle meetings occasionally. And we say things to each other like, what's so delicious is butter chicken. And we all nod. And we're like, well, how can we make butter chicken into more dishes on the menu? Butter chicken poutine.
Yeah.
Butter chicken mac and cheese. These are innovations in the butter chicken industry that Oodle Noodle is at the forefront of bringing out.
It's you guys are doing the good work there.
We're trying. We make one thing people don't know about Oodle Noodle is we make it all in Edmonton. We have 2 factories over by Rexall Place, and one is the noodle factory, and we make all of our noodles here in town. We make all of our sauces here in town. We make all of our tofu here in town. And you're saying, Wanye, did you guys just open a spring roll factory 2 doors down? We did indeed. We bought an enormous spring roll machine, and now we make all of our spring rolls in town too. So Oodle Noodle is not only delicious, but it's truly made in Edmonton.
And nutritious.
Ish.
Could we get a Oodle Noodle in the Stingray building?
We've looked into putting one in the mall. We called it unfeasible.
You got to talk to Stingray.
That seems too big scale. Yeah, just like a little kiosk right back here. Connor and I will happily relocate where we do our work every day from the bar here in the old Palladium. We'll go find some other empty cubicle in this vast array of hallways and networks. They can just set up a little grill back here.
Well, I will tell you what I told the leasing agent. We are either on the Santa Maria ship or there will not be a Oodle Noodle in the mall.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be.
Maybe one of the submarines.
We walk past there every day and where there's people out there, we're like, oh, that looks so fun.
I know somebody got married on there and I always hold them in a high esteem. I'm like, man, you got married at sea.
Well, did a captain do it?
No. But you can rent that for all sorts of things. Wedding, divorce party.
If you rent it, you can probably do whatever you want.
Shoot a video
theory,
on it.
I guess, as long as it's legal in public.
We could do our show on there.
We could. Live from the ship.
Unbelievable.
2024 is going to be a hell of a year.
I can feel it. It's ending on a good note, boys.
There's
good vibes in here right now.
Matt and Leduc texting in says, best thing in 2023 has been watching the Oilers skate through quicksand to start my year. My Flames weren't much better, but the Oilers made it all okay. Well, Matt, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
You had me, Matt. I was thinking about you winning until you said your Flames.
Yeah.
You get nothing.
That was a bold one. I like Phil making the transplant list. Dean had a good one. A couple people, like I said, trying to butter us up. Probably good effort.
It's Phil.
Yeah.
We're closing it out in a big win. Phil, we appreciate you listening. We're with you in spirit with what you're going through. Oodle Noodle is probably the least helpful thing we could do for you at this point, but we're sending him out.
And it's on Wanye, the best kind there is. Wanye, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me, boys.
That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Big thanks to Cam Tate, Kevin Woodley, Pulser, John Hoven, Alexis Downey, Wanye, Craig Button, and Mark Spector for joining us here on the show today. Big thank you to Brandon Douglas as well. His 12-hour shifts are over. He can go home and have a little bit of a power nap before the Ducks whoop the Coyotes tonight down in Anaheim. To everyone who tuned in today, thank you. Check out the podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get it from, and have a safe and happy New Year's Eve. Don't do anything stupid out there. Live to see another day, and we will have you back on the show joining us on Tuesday. Right now, though, let's get to a sports update Brought to you by BIE Engineering, your structural engineering specialist. Whether you're in the process of a renovation or building your dream home, BIE can help you out. Go to BIEENG.com. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Nine-game slate in the NHL tonight, including a handful of games already underway at the end of the first period. Florida leads the Rangers 1-0. Toronto's up 2-1 on Columbus. Nashville trails Detroit by a score of 2-1, and the Devils are up on Ottawa, also by a score of 2-1. Washington Islanders about halfway through the first period. That game is scoreless. NCAA College Football Bowl season. 3 games already wrapped up for the day. Clemson beat Kentucky. Notre Dame over Oregon State in the Sun Bowl, and Memphis topped Iowa State in the Liberty Bowl. Still to come tonight at 6 o'clock, Mizzou will take on the Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. World Junior action this morning from Gothenburg. Team Canada, they suffered their first loss of the tournament to Sweden 2-0. USA beat Czechia 4-3 in a shootout. Finland blanked Latvia 4-0, and Slovakia doubled up Norway 8-4. Spengler Cup in Switzerland. Team Canada beat the Finnish squad Kaupa Kuopio 6-3, improving Canada's record to 2-1. And another domino down in the MLB offseason. The Boston Red Sox have signed pitcher Lucas Giolito to a 2-year, $38.5 million deal, which includes an opt-out after the first season. From the association, 10 games in total, including several already underway. The Toronto Raptors, they trail the Boston Celtics 25-15 with just over 3 minutes left in the first quarter. The Knicks, they're down by 11 to the Magic. 3 minutes left in the first half. And the Brooklyn Nets are up on the Washington Wizards 49-46. Minute 43 left to go in the first half in that one. Coming up on Sports 1440 is Universal Radio. I'm Brandon Douglas. That's your Sports 1440 update.